Hey guys, good morning. Vampire Elves reporting in. Back on the Vampire schedule. Starting after 4 p.m. and ending who knows. If we are even, gonna be doing some stuff later. So, as you can see, yesterday the Talsin campaign got save corrupted after a battle with rebels. This is like number 12 in 5,000 hours, I think. I have lost the count there, maybe it's number 11. So the save is gone, campaign is gone. We'll just hit the wave watchers and would be nice shooting everybody. So we will not be doing any more Wood Elves until they release their rework update. Who knows when it's gonna be. I can't be bothered to go another 4 hours of Rebels in the Forest. Today we're gonna be talking about the state of the Wood Elves. Albeit being someone obvious, being one of the earliest faction at least that, they're in dire need of rework. But we're gonna be talking about personal experience here, or, opinions, feelings. Of course, strictly Mortal Empire's legendary campaign experience. We're gonna go like in depth like we did the last 2 times. I'll try to do this Jibber episodes once a month, hopefully. Maybe once every 2 months. So Wood Elves were one of the earliest DLCs released back in Warhammer 1. It's one of the campaign packs, but how they did the campaign packs back in Warhammer 1,
forest calls.
They instead of releasing a proper faction like Tomb Kings or the Vampire Coast, you got a mini campaign. Mini campaign which no doubt taken more time to do things around than the actual faction itself. But they said that the campaign packs of Warhammer 2 pretty much are just extra lords, like you have 4 here and 4 there. While the Wood Elves have 2. The Beastmen also had 2 at the start, but they added more good with Wood Elves, as I think it was 3 at a time. So we'll be talking about their factions, their lords, units, buildings, technologies, how they work, what can be done about them, feelings, wishes, jibber jabber. This is never prepared. This is just just talking. Sometimes will be definitely repeating myself, but this is the closest thing you can come about the guide and discussions on this stream, because we're not doing really that. Hey there, bro. So the Wood Elves have 2 factions that are playable. Talsin, which used to be named Wood Elves, but got renamed because they needed proper names. Talsin, which have the province of Talsin, region of Kingsglade, and the Legional Lord is Orion. And Argelon, which is in the north. Basically, they start in the same forest, and the forest that have 5 provinces. Either of these 2 start with 2, start with the north or south and the Oak of Ages, and the ones in the middle are just there to slow down the early game, so you don't start with all about Loren, Torgon and Vidriot.
Protector of the oak.
We're gonna start here, so we talk about a few things about Orion and his faction. Hey, Belbane. With the world of Warhammer being expanded in this campaign in Mortal Empires, the Outer Loren has been untouched. They pretty much just have the Warhammer 1 experience of Wood Elves in the Warhammer 2, with some of the things slightly adjusted, some of the things slightly patched, which don't really got together with the things from Warhammer 1. Like the Ember mechanic, or the outposts, or some of the older buildings with the new buildings. You can totally see the differences.
Be ever vigilant.
So when you start with Talsin with Orion, this is how it is. You get the Waystalker, you get Orion with additional 6 units. Oak of Ages starts on tier 1, Kingsglaive starts on tier 1. Orion basically used to be one of the most powerful lords back in Warhammer 1, but as the new things have been released, he gotten weaker and weaker over time. Albeit, you know that he's basically just jack of all trades, doesn't really excel in anything, and having very strange items which don't really support what he's supposed to do. This faction and the Orion is basically supporting elite elf armies, wood elf armies. This was the first elf faction in the Warhammer series of Total War. It was the first faction also that introduced the Lord of Life, pretty sure. So there's really nothing special about Orion. He's not really critical to the battles of the Wood Elves, how they're gonna fight, since the Wood Elves have some really strong units and technologies that go, but battle skills that go with it. Their battle skills in Warhammer 1 were even stronger. They were supporting pretty much every single unit in the army with various buffs: armor, melee defense, attack, speed, stuff like that. They separated them with the new reworked battle skills for the Wood Elves. So the early game used to be even more powerful for the Wood Elves. Regarding quality, they were pretty much some of the highest quality in the game back in the day, but it's mainly due to the how that battle skills worked and healing to support it. The units, they do have definitely some of the lower health, and if they're not applied right, they can just take serious damage without proper buffs and supports like healing or various resistances. But more about this we're going to talk later. So Orion has some really strange stats here. Has massive health, low armor, is unbreakable, has frenzy, and has a bombardment ability and a vortex ability. He also has terror and he's fast. This basically has very strange build here. Very strange build here. It is definitely above nearly everything else in the game, but doesn't really excel at anything specifically. So he can run fast on the battlefield, he can throw projectiles, he can move in, charge in, hit something really hard in melee. With friends, he has over 500 weapon strength, he's anti-large. He will though take a lot of damage without the proper items and support. So he is relying on a very high health pool to survive, and of course his mobility. So he's like one of those guys that, you know, when you're doing battles, if he doesn't do anything in the battle, it will not really matter at all. If he's just standing there, using some of his abilities or fire at will, that's gonna probably be your standard Ryan experience. But if you're really going to need extra to actually win the battle, it's like extra edge, this guy can give it. If you get into a position where you know, it looks pretty bad, Orion can get it 110%. He can run the battlefield, harass the enemy, do damage, hit. His abilities can be applied to great effect, and he turns into a miracle worker if you really need it. But to really actually need Orion at 110%, you have to get into a really bad spot, which it's really hard for it to happen with Wood Elves. So you have a very powerful lord which doesn't feel powerful, and it's basically Orion. And it's hard to really see where that power comes from unless you know how to use him and get into a fight which will require his set of stats, skills, and abilities. So basically, he's been power crept since Warhammer 1. His stats probably should be higher, his mechanics around him should probably be better. He's after all kind of a godly being. He does start with 2 abilities and with a very high stats, but like I said, he's powerful, but it doesn't feel powerful. And if you're going to need him, he's gonna deliver, but most of the battles, you're not gonna see it. You're not gonna see it at all. His abilities of bombardment and vortex is pretty much what you're gonna do. He's gonna run the battlefield and he's gonna apply these abilities, either bombard something during a siege or units that are standing in spot, or try to get lucky with a vortex with the Hounds of Ryan, which can do some serious damage. I think we have a picture of some of the Ryan performances from back in the day, where we basically focus most of the fight using the Orion. This is one of these examples. This is Orion from Warhammer 1, where we had to use him extra. This is one of those examples I mentioned. Hey mobs. So this is one of the examples where Orion had to give 110%. And you can see here he killed 840. We were outnumbered 2 times, and our army were mainly Eternal Guard with shields, as you can see here. Not really ones that can deal damage against the Empire. So Ryan had took the role here of the damage dealer and get that 110% in, and he delivered. So basically he's running the battlefield looking for the best opportunities and applying the Hunts of Ryan, Hawk Stalin, best of your ability. Regarding his items, nothing really special. Some strange items like this one or this one that try to get with his ability that buffs the Vald Riders. So his main trait gives weapon strength to the Vald Riders and charge most Vald Riders, which is a very good medium cavalry. Cavalry in single player is kinda, you know, sure, we could use it, but what happens when you get over 4 cavalry units or 3 to 4 cavalry units in a battle, and we're doing sieges for most part, which is usually how it is. Wood Elf Legend Lords who have really powerful armies, everybody's gonna avoid them in the field, and you're gonna be on the attack. And most of these attacks will be scared peasants hiding in their castles. So the cavalry is the weakest part of the Wood Elves because of that regard. Unless you're going against the force of chaos or a massive superpowers later in the game, the cavalry is just total overkill. The Wild Riders can be buffed sufficiently, and they can be used to great effect, very strong, but you can just use 1 or 2 units. And when his main skills, his item, and all the investment onto the Wild Riders, it feels like a little bit overkill trying to buff units of the Wood Elves, which, you know, gonna be used sometimes. So it's just better to use mainly a composition of Valud Rangers, maybe some War Dancers and the Archers, and then maybe 1 or 2 Wild Riders. And when you have only just 1 of 2, it doesn't matter if you got just full boost on them like through the Striking Branches. This 20% more damage and their experience will be enough. So it's just not a problem really with Orion, it's a problem with the game, how the cavalry, you know, is. You know, you want some faster units, but then you remember that most of the battles will be sieges. The moment you build a great army, the AI is not really made that he will try to, you know, get the advantage with having 2 armies to fight them. You're not gonna ever try to fight them when they have 2, and you come to the point where, you know, big field battles will not exist, and it'll just be sieges. They'll be just hiding, and every time you fight them in the field, it's usually just gonna be when they're fleeing from you. So 1, 2 Wild Riders fully buffed. It's like kind of missed flavor if you ask me. But Talsin with how they work because of the Ember cost on the units. Like the Hawk Riders cost 1 Ember for Ryan, but for the Durtu Wave Watchers will cost 1 Ember. So you basically have elite elf units, and there is definitely some flavor and fun to be had. You don't even have to go full archer shenanigans. You can just use stuff like Wildwood Rangers, War Dancers, Wave Watchers, and of course, you know, magic. And with that, you know, 1 or 2 Wild Riders, maybe a Forest Dragon, 1 Sisters of Thorn. You got a varied army for sure. Or you can just, you know, like Fuck this shit, I don't need to play a varied army. That's, you know, look at all these units. It's so much work applying them in every single battle. I'm just gonna get a full army of Wave Watchers.
Oh my god. Have you seen that shit?
We're gonna be talking more about the units when we get to the you know, general discussion about the Wood Elves.
Master of the wild.
So the way how I play the Tal'Sin and Argelon is basically I stick with them with their flavors and use Orion with elf units, recruit Glade Lords and use elf units there, and with Durtu using Forest Spirits with almost no range, and using Master Treemen with pretty much similar compositions. Their campaigns are pretty short, suffer the same thing as Bretonia. Objective that is, you know, pretty linear, and it either can grant you, you know, freedom to do whatever you want, but usually you're focused about it, and everything else comes to the second plan. You know, regarding these objectives, you know, sometimes when this shit is so big, like Clan Rictus Victory Condition, you're literally like, you know, like feel like overwhelmed. You don't even want to bother with it. And then you get campaigns like Bretonia and Wood Elves, which their objective is just not good enough. You want it to be more, but they're offering you this big freedom, and sometimes you don't really care about it. You just want it to actually think that it makes sense, and that it feels like rewarding, progressing towards objectives and the campaign completion. And this stopped feeling, this stopped being it, feeling like that. So it feels like you're either gonna be playing something irregular, like conquering big parts of map, which you know, it's not even part of their objective, and then you know, try to keep it, further expand. I mean, you can get all the amber from the allies, or you can just, you know, fight and get big sets of lands, which doesn't really fit in Warhammer 2 with the Wood Elves, but it's still a unique approach how they play, because they are basically a horde with center operations in Outer Loren, and instead of just raising settlements for money, you actually can raise them and make forests out of them, so you have outposts everywhere too. Talking about victory conditions, and I feel like that's a whole episode by itself. But victory conditions should be more. It should be interesting, and not something like, look at this, ultimate campaign victory. This is basically just copy pasta from Warhammer 1.
Orion.
So pretty much this is Tal'Sin. What I feel like it's currently a problem here in this part of Outer Loren is the movement in the forest is unrealistic. So a problem with this is both Wood Elves and any other faction have the same amount of movement in the Outer Loren. There are factions which will have more movement than the Wood Elves inside Outer Loren. This is the same problem the Lizardmen have in the jungle. The Reds have underways, and they have the same rules regarding movement range when they move in the jungle. So one of the problems here, I feel like there should be a buff on these regions, which grants massive movement bonus to the Wood Elves in the forest, like 30%, 20 to 30%. Why is this a problem? Since all factions will follow the same rule of movement of Outer Loren. There are these waystones which are supposed to, you know, protect the forest. Other factions get in, they take attrition. Wood Elves and the other factions have the same rules for movement in Outer Loren. The Outer Loren is small. It is small. Might have been big back in Warhammer 1, but now compared to the rest of it is small. The factions will move through here, they will trespass, and this is probably what triggers the Wood Elves the most. Other people in their forest. This is basically, you enter the forest, you're dead. They'll kill you. No mercy. That's Wood Elves. And the other factions having the same rules regarding movement range is just wrong. In Outer Loren, Wood Elves should have buffs in the province effect, so their movement when they start in the forest. So shit like this doesn't happen, where a faction here is in a fog of war and they have Oak of Ages in range. From here to here in one turn. That is busted. Busted, broken, should never ever be possible to reach Oak of Ages outside the forest in one turn. The movement in Ateloren should be less, especially for the faction. They should probably receive a penalty if they don't control these provinces for movement, while the Wood Elves should receive bonuses. Nobody but the Wood Elves should be even able to move to the Ateloren. Other factions should cripple to the forest itself killing them. And that's how it is, lore, and how it should work. And it's just not good enough. If they're not gonna increase the size of the Ateloren, they need to make sure the enemy is crippled in the forest and not freely move in and raise settlements like it's happening these days, especially AI versus AI. Orion regularly just gets killed and the rest of the Wood Elves never get united because there is no plan B for Dota to unite the Wood Elves. So I would like to see a buff on the province effects which increases the movement of the Wood Elves in the forest, and any enemies entering the forest should pretty much be instantly stopped, or probably best instantly stopped and then just can use their regular movement. They should not be able to freely move throughout the Ateloren with their regular movement range. This place should be super dangerous for anybody but Wood Elves. The half of the forest is pretty much alive and extremely hostile, even to the Wood Elves. And the Wood Elves know how to go to the forest. The other people should not be able to go to the forest. We should definitely not see the fact that they can come here and just attack Oak of Ages in one turn. You don't even see them with the changes to the vision from the region control. So they can just sneak here. If you don't control Karak Bufdar, poof, Oak of Ages is gone because you didn't even see them. In one turn they just take it down. Same thing, the King's Glade should never be reached in a single turn. Not any of these regions should not be attacked in a single turn. Usually, as the Wood Elf campaign progresses, you will have the vision around, and the armies will be available to stop them. But the Ateloren does not feel right in Warhammer 2, especially with all these factions. Some of them trying to be some kind of superpower wannabes, with the diplomacy thresholds being hostile towards the Wood Elves. Even with technologies existing to improve these relations, but stuff like this should not be possible, especially with all these small factions being around Ateloren. I don't see them changing the size of Ateloren, but regarding movement and Wood Elves having the advantage in the forest, it should be obvious, both on the campaign and in the battles. As a definitely expanded mechanics which probably are too inconvenient for them to ever do. The other Wood Elf faction is Durtu. We haven't really talked about the faction effects or the lore effects. This is actually just nonsense. Like I said, the cavalry focus of Orion and Wood Elves is silly. The cavalry has limited uses. Leadership during the forest battles is total overkill. When it comes to fighting the forests, even without the trees blocking projectiles, the Wood Elves have extreme bonuses. So both faction effects and the lore effect for Orion should probably change with the very work. This is a unique Wild Hunt event. It's almost like who are you trying to deceive here, game? What unique? You put an office, they get a buff, and they get another buff, and that's it. Basically, get one army that is like they joined the Crusades back in Warhammer 2 on Medieval 2 and just have extra massive movement. Nothing unique about it, just bloated stats. And the cavalry focus makes no sense, really. The open field battle is another thing. It's the same thing with the Beastmen. There should be a button to just push them outside the castle every like 10 turns, so force a field battle with the garrisons and the army. We talk about this in the Beastmen Jibber, but this type of exists, and the cavalry is just nonsense. It's a multiplayer unit. For the Wood Elves, you can play a campaign where you never, ever recruit a cavalry unit, and you rarely see any differences, really. You can always play reactive battle lines supported by ranged magic, or just full range battle lines, and you never really even feel need you need cavalry. You have to understand that how the master ambushers work. They move and shoot. All your time is gonna go on them. and there'll be really no need to mix cavalry with them. Cavalry and archer combination for duels is very powerful, but the field battles, they really don't exist. They're just an illusion in the early game. You're gonna get a couple of them and that's it. The whole campaign turns into a bunch of sieges. Regarding Argilon bonuses, another bunch of nonsense. Hero recruitment cost minus 50% for branch rates. Hero recruitment cost reductions. Not upkeep, but recruitment on the faction effect. Totally irrelevant. Melee attack +10 during forest battles, like I said, it's extreme. In the forest, you have all the bonuses. Outside the forest, you get dick. So it's just really silly. The faction effects bonuses should probably be on something else, while this bonuses should be on technologies and skills and traits for the lords. The lord effect for Durtu is quite interesting. All units in Durtu's army are immune to all attrition, so you're never gonna take any attrition, and has a cheaper upkeep for the forest spirits and more charge bonus for the forest spirits. Charge bonus flight for the forest spirits actually helps them a bit. These are not very aggressive units other than the Dryads. And 30% cheaper upkeep for the forest spirits. Now this is almost like a Warhammer 2 ability. Almost like a Warhammer 2, unlike the Orion. Overkill for the units which will have limited use. So Durtu faction effect probably should be something else, not this nonsense. While his Lord effect is pretty good, no need to change at all. Let's go talk maybe a bit about Durtu. We talk about the Orion, how he's a very powerful lord, but he does not feel powerful anymore. And in the battles where you basically just use your wood elf units to get performance, you're not even gonna feel Orion's presence on the battlefield. So Durtu, on the other hand, is one of the most powerful lords in the game, and you're gonna feel Durtu's presence on every battlefield. He is pretty much the main guy. Durtu, also known as the Optimus Pine, is one of the strongest lords in the game. Health-wise, damage-wise, duelist, melee expert, damage dealer, wizard. One of the strongest in the game. Every single battle with Durtu, you're gonna be making sure that Durtu is doing the shit. This lord has massive stats, massive health, which can be increased even further. Has massive armor, attack. He does have frenzy, damage. He's even have a solid defense. The only thing really that's weaker on Durtu compared to the Orion is his speed. The speed is pretty much his only disadvantage. But when he gets there, things just die. So he's basically a massive tree which is very hard to kill and hits hard. He has physical resistance, armor and massive health immediately without anything else. 20 physical resistance, which can be increased quite a lot with other stuff as well. He does have weakness to fire, but 20 physical resistance eliminates 20% of fire weakness, so it's only 5%.
Oh my god! Have you seen that shit? Holy shit! What the hell?
Thank you, Colin. All this talking makes me thirsty. Just 1 second. Weakness to fire doesn't really affect Durtu because of his massive armor, health, and resistances, but it can be noticeable sometimes. So he's one of them master treemen, except doesn't have a lot of life, instead has a lot of beasts, and is a scary damage dealer. He has pretty good animations, pretty good damage, and toughness to go with it. Durtu is a lord that is always closely compared to Kolek in its size and power. You could compare him to Tyrion regarding damage outputs in melee, but Tyrion cannot kill as fast because he's not large, and he does not have magic that makes him even more effective killer. So you got a really crazy melee expert damage dealer that has the toughness from the start. The Wood Elves have access to healing, so he can be easily healed with regrowth. He has Terror, Charge Defense versus Large. He has Woodsman, ignores, just goes past to the trees. Has Frenzy, so immediately goes to 73 melee attack on level 1. He has the Blessing of the Ancients when it's in the trees, get good boost to the. It's basically a better Arcane Conduit when he's in the trees, so it supports his magic side. He does get an ability which is a magic missile and causes some explosion. Sometimes you do need a little minimal distance, but this could be quite devastating depending who he fights. He's usually gonna go into a crowd and fight several units on his own. In the sieges, he's gonna be your main guy, pretty much soloing the whole city himself. He has one item which further enhances his capabilities in battle. More attack, an ability which causes AoE debuff and damage. Goes amazing with the Flock of Doom. He has a lore which is a combination of support and damage. It's not the greatest lore in the game, but it can be very effective, especially used with Dur2 type of fighting. He has a even better flavor than Orion regarding the units, because you get buffs for the Forest Spirits. They're cheaper immediately, and you get charge bonus. For Dryads, it actually matters. For the other two, it's irrelevant. He has a bonus for armor piercing on these units too, and the ward save for the Trikin makes them some of the toughest units in the game. You can pretty much just create a melee grinder army which doesn't use any range at all, and just slowly grind every single enemy and use Dur to to max effect. It's one of those lords where you put in an army, it feels like it's part of the army, and it gives good performance. Like let's say you create a Doomstack with Tyrion. Tyrion cannot keep up with the damage of the rest of his army. Tyrion is just gonna be overkill in that army. But with the Dur2 flavor, Dur2 feels like not only he is actually part of the army, but he's also the strongest part of that army. While you create a Doomstack with Tyrion, Doomstack performs better than Tyrion. Tyrion just never really does anything. He's basically just there to kill this lord, kill that here, and that's it. We talked about the flavor with the Talsin, how you would use the elves. Here I go with Forest Spirits. Use Dryads early with Trikin and just do melee. Pretty much drop the range. You could use the range as well, but I feel like when playing Argyle and Dur2, especially Dur2's army, you should just go melee, so you get good value and nice fun melee battles. Some people might find the Trikin a little bit slow at killing. They are really not damage dealers. One of the toughest units in the game, and when you add healing and the forest buff, sometimes they can not really be killed. So, like some of those lords, like the ones that are fun to play, like Grimgor, Khazrak, Tyrion. Well, you want to build them as overkill fighters. Dur2 has this in his melee skills, but most of this is overkill, but it's fun, right? I usually build Dur2 as a wizard and get most of the damage from Flock of Doom and his base stats, but you can get both. Dur2 goes in, maybe even in the trees, get both Blessing of the Ancient Valhart, and just uses Flock of Doom with his sword, and it's amazing when you're doing a siege below the gate. Probably one of the most fun armies you could use fighting the vampires. So army is basically early Dryads and the Trikin, and then later a combination of Trikin, 3-man, and the Forest Dragons, and that's all you need. That with the usual 2 spell singers, 1 life, 1 shadow, or both life, and you just grind. Both Orion and Dur2 are fun to play, but with other mechanics of the Wood Elves, it feels like it's a little bit restricted. It starts with a branch rate and the 6 units as well. Instead of starting with one of them cavalry, one of them flying units, he starts with Wave Watchers. We're gonna be talking about the units in depth. I just wanted to take a look at the factions here. Both Durtu and Orion basically are stuck in the forest because of the public order issues. This is how you start campaign, -12 public order. The core building has no public order. The public order building in the city is very weak, +2 and +3 on 2 different tiers, which is ridiculous. Technology has public order, tree has public order, but it doesn't come in the early game. So you're basically just stuck in the forest for 34 turns dealing with rebels. Don't even try to stabilize until you're ready to go out the forest. You could mix it with a nearby settlement for raise, but it's sad to say that the best thing about the Wood Elves early game is just to farm rebellions. So you just stay outside the city, wait for the rebels to come. Now even the Scheme Corruption even speeds this up. Rebels come, you attack them, manual follow-up auto-resolve. Manual follow-up to resolve 7-8 rebellions before you consider to go into the city, stabilize public order, and attack nearby settlements. Durtu has Paro and Karakton closest, so he even has a better close stuff than the Orion. Once you've done the initial rebellion farm at the beginning and you are trying to leave the forest, you're working towards the tier 3 Oak of Ages. This is pretty much your early game. This gets to tier 3, confederations become available, you confederate Atta Loren, and then it's where your second stage of the campaign begins. I guess maybe even third if you count the rebellion and into Oak of Ages third, because you have to split those two. And then you're basically getting Ember by expanding or allying and continue to upgrade the tree. Beastmen are going into the forest like moths into the flame, and eventually get this to tier 5 and do the final battle, which has not been really updated or polished since Warhammer 1. It's totally one-sided, and win the campaign. But while doing that, you have some fun with the elf units shooting, or the forest spirit units just doing fun melee. Technology tree is another thing, but we will talk about soon. Oh my god, what's going on with my throat? Okay, I've been drinking yesterday all day. I'm still having a headache and a hangover. Skaven Assassins. The forest needs more settlements. Who knows what the forest needs. The factions of Torgwan and Vidriot, you have a window in the early game to get them on your side. What I mean that, a non-aggression pact, military access, that agreement. They hate you. They don't even recognize you as being the top dog in the forest, due to one of the oldest beings in the Warhammer world universe, and Orion pretty much god, elf, and they just talk shit about you. There's a window in the early game to get them on your side, but if that doesn't work, you need to join their wars and invite them to wars and give them money. The moment this hits tier 3, you're just gonna confederate them like they never even existed. Talking about the rest of the Wood Elf stuff, well, their campaign, how their campaign plays out is basically, we said, early game, right now you're farming rebellions, 34 turns, then you go into the city, you stabilize it to nearly 100 public order, and then you start attacking the nearby settlements, get the Ember. You unlock the various technologies for diplomatic relations with the Empire, Bretonia, Dwarves. You consider signing alliances, you get Ember from them by signing military alliance, and you easily get tier 3, and then you get all of Atta Loren, and from that point you basically are superpower. The Atta Loren provides economy for the base armies. two elite armies, Durtu and Orion usually, and the rest of the money comes from battles. The Wood Elves are like the Dark Elves, but instead of having slaves and stacking settlements of money, they raise. Most of your money will come from battles, so post-battle loot and raising settlements. The amounts of money you get is just beyond ridiculous. It's like you're playing Arcane in the end times, and you can easily go negative 5k, 10k, 15k, 20k, heck even 30,000 negative. As you are warmongering around the world, you're gonna be getting more and more money which you won't be able to spend. Or you can play a peaceful game, just stick to the forest, ally with the factions you want to be friendly with. You have relations from technologies, help them win their wars, get rid of the troublemakers, the evil factions, and by them expanding, Empire building, Dwarf building, Bretonia building, you get Ember by having a military alliance with them, and win the campaign by never even leaving the forest. I mean, never even expanding outside the forest. You're gonna be leaving forest to, you know, fight some battles, help your allies, and get some money, right? The objective is, like we said, pretty simple: upgrade a tree, win the campaign. Same as the Bretonia, pretty straightforward. They don't have like short campaign victory, long campaign victory. Maybe they should. Long campaign victory maybe could be this, upgrade the tree or the shield Bretonia. Short could be something else. Is this how it is? I will start talking about technologies, which no doubt with the rework they're probably just gonna select all and throw it to the recycle bin. What else are a faction of extremes? They either have crazy stuff or they get shit. So you have this is a technologies. You have a set of technologies which don't require Ember, and you have a set of technologies which require Ember. So the first technology immediately you can see here: ward save 10% during forest battles, leadership +5 during forest battles. So if you're in forest battles, you get bonuses. There are several things that give you bonuses. These bonuses stack crazy, like you're almost using cheat codes inside the forest. Outside the forest, you get dick, you get nothing. So this is what I'm talking about: faction of extremes. You either get crazy stuff or you get shit. Like other factions could slowly buff this thing, that thing, various units, ways to play. This just, you know, gives you one thing that you can use either in the forest or outside the forest. You get nothing. What does this mean, forest battles? Well, not to be confused, there are different abilities regarding that. For example, Durtu has Blessing of the Ancients, which is really confusing, especially to people who try to rely on reading this thing without, you know, seeing how it works. So let's say a new player starts playing the game, they see Blessing of the Ancient, it sees an augment, so it's above that that activates. Durtu activates this on himself, so multiple can work from various characters. Spell singers have this the same. It says disabled if unit is not in the forest, and this is where the problem comes with their text, their wording. So what does this mean? Well, there are two conditions for the forests. So if you pick Durtu or don't pick Durtu, you just mouse over the battlefield, and it says here Waterfall Palace, and terrain says light forest. This means this battlefield here, unless you get the pyramids of Cetra, you're gonna get light forest here, and all the forest buffs gonna activate. What are these forest buffs? Morai Heg the Crone. This is the forest buff. So this is the condition. You start a battle, it says light forest, as it's here light forest. So position on the map could be critical, could be also inconvenient, could also just lose your turns. But if you get max advantage, position the forest. So when you start a battle, below it will say it's a forest, light forest or whatever. And if it says forest, buff like Morai Heg the Crone works. It just like that. It just activates. The whole army gets 10% ward save and 5 leadership, which is nuts. An additional 10 melee attack. So you get extremely strong buffs in the forest, and outside forest you get dick. On top of that, there is a buff like, for example, this ward save 15% during forest battles hero's army. So you have a technology that grants you 10% ward save, and then a hero grants additional 15% ward save, so your whole army, on top of all the resistances, starts to get 25% ward save, which just reduces all damage taken by 25%. It's almost like using cheat codes, right? So, like I said, Faction of Extremes, in the forest, you get too much, outside the forest, you get dick. We are back to this ability here, Blessing of the Ancients. Disable the units not in the forest. Well, that is not true. That is not true. This is a wording problem. When you enter a light forest battlefield, not every single part of the battlefield is forest. There's gonna be trees on it, there's gonna be grasslands on it, hills, so not everything is forest. But it does not mean that Dota enters the battlefield and the Blessing of the Ancients will be active at all times, which according to this text it should. For this to be active, Durtu has to fight in the trees. So if you're on a battlefield, you need to fight in the trees. You have trees on parts of the battlefield, even the battlefield that are not a forest. Even a battlefield that has almost no trees like the Badlands will still have some trees. So you need to have Durtu, and any of the units that wanna get this bonus need to be inside the trees. When you click on the unit and your mouse on the battlefield, you will see the icon that it's gonna be in the trees, and then the Blessing of the Ancients will work. This does not mean the Moral Hag the Crone will start working. The plus 10 melee attack will start working, or Shield of Isha will start working. You are not in the forest, but you are in the forest on the battlefield. You see the problem? I'm getting a headache just thinking about it. Fucking hell, man, these devs. So, too long, don't read. It has to say the battlefield is a forest for the main forest buffs to be active. For the abilities like Blessing of the Ancients, for ability like Guardians of the Wildwood, you have to be in the trees. Doesn't matter if it's a forest or not a forest, the units like Durtu or the Wild Rangers, they just have to be in the trees. And nearly over half the unit has to be in the trees for the buff to work. So you have to know there's differences. It's a little bit confusing and it's kinda really shitty it works like that. It should work both ways. If the terrain is all forest, you're in a fucking forest. All the forest buffs should be activated. And then, if you're not in the forest and you're fighting in the trees, all the fucking forest buffs should activate again. So it's not a fucking extremes. You either get everything or you get nothing. It's incredibly hard to position yourself and your whole army, especially with range, to fight in the forest all the time. It's just goddamn headaches, and you know, don't even bother playing the faction like my brother says. The next technology is just standard income from all buildings plus 5%, which kind of makes no sense in a faction that has really extreme technology. So this is one of those garbage technologies, just get peanut shells out of it. This is one of those extreme technologies, very strong, then you get into garbage technology. Then you have the Ladriel's Lady of Mist. Strong bonuses, but will they do anything to your campaign? Plus 4 relation Bretonia, evasion chance when using the world with 10%, enemy hero X6 chance minus 5%. All sounds good, but you know, shitty wall of text is still a shitty wall of text. Bretonians are basically your easy targets to bully. If you ally with them, you have to go fight somebody else. Next technology, just standard Lord Recruit rank plus 2, Hero Recruit rank plus 2. Maybe it was made sense back in Warhammer 1, but they increased the max rank to rank 40. Even plus 5 would be small at this point from a technology. You got a very powerful technology here, campaign wound range plus 10%. Any technology that gives you 10% campaign wound range is a powerful technology. That's how it is. You have these technologies, they're strong, you don't have it, you get shit. More hero recruit ranks for the branch rates, still plus 2 on 40 ranks, too small. You have a technology here which is another very strong one, similar like the Morai Hack the Crown. But this one works all the time. You get a campaign effect of magic item drop chance plus 5%, so you get more magic items from every bell. You have a chance to get more, or to get a higher chance to get any. Magic resistance 10% for all units. Just like that, the whole army gets 10% magic resistance. And it is pretty damn good for the Wood Elves, because most of their units have physical resistance. Strikin have 20, Durtu have 20. Heck, even the War Dancers have 20 physical resistance. So you have Sisters of the Thorn for the physical resistance. So pretty damn good stuff. One of the final technologies here. The last technology here, which you have to have both line connected into it, gives additional plus 10 leadership during forest battles. So you get plus 10 leadership during forest battles, plus 5 leadership during forest battles, ward save, attack during from the forest battles, ward save during forest battles, little time during forest battles. These abilities can even be multiple of in the army as well. So like I said, again, faction of extreme, you get ridiculous bonuses or you get dick if you're not in the forest. You have to be in a forest, so a battle has to say it's a forest. Speed plus 10%, all units, just like that. It doesn't even say who gets it, just speed plus 10%. Might as well be like campaign goes 10% faster. And all units get plus 2 recruit ranks. Extremely powerful technology. You remember what we said about Durtu? His weakest ability is speed. So he gets just 10% more speed, just like that. Bang, the whole faction 10% speed. Doesn't even say who or what. Everything just goes faster, 10% faster. The bottom line here, you get another garbage technology. Recruitment cost minus 5% for Dryad units. Damn. This means that you get 5% cheaper on 550 on the Dryads. God damn. Not even the Trikin and the Treeman. Just 5% for the Dryads. Really too powerful, guys. Heck, if this was 50% cheaper, Dryads would still be... sure, I'll accept it. Average shit. 5% cheaper recruitment cost for Dryads. What the fuck are these days smoking and they even playing the game? And then, listen to this. Guys, I waited so fucking long for this. It's so fucking long for this. Charge bonus plus 10%. But, check this out. Not only Dryads now, but Trikin and Treeman units as well. And it's pretty much the only technology that is buffing Dryads, Trikin and Treeman separately. The magic resistance here and the speed here will affect them. So this is the only shit they get. Plus 10% charge bonus. Okay, let's go see what does this mean. This is a unit of Dryads. Hold on, let me get a base stats. Unit of Dryads, 12 charge bonus. 12 fucking charge bonus, this damage dealer unit, ladies and gentlemen. 12 charge bonus. Fucking hell, them dwarf warriors, natural sprinters, deadly at short distances, they do fucking more charge damage than the Dryads. Being a damage dealer unit. Damage dealer unit, ladies and gentlemen, with 5 AP. Used to have even less. So, 12 charge bonus on this unit here. Don't get me wrong, we'll talk about the Dryads. Dryads is a good unit. But 10% charge bonus. This is the Warhammer 1 treatment and the treatment of guys that never play the game at developers' headquarters. Durtu with Warhammer 2 had received a buff to his main trait. Plus 10%, plus 10 flat bonus. Not 10%, just like that. Look at this, boys. Look at this. Just like that, from 12 to 22 charge bonus. All of a sudden, Dryads can actually do a charge. Not gonna wait in the trees and murder you while you sleep. They can do charge. This is how you do a fucking charge bonus buff. Percentages, fire those idiots. Let them go work on Fortnite or some shit. This is how you do charge bonuses in Total War game. Especially for the single entities have the biggest problem with charge bonuses. Let's go check the Trikin. 3 king has 12 charge bonus. And 3 man has 30 charge bonus. So you're telling me a single entity tier 5 unit, which you're usually gonna miss most of his direct attacks, because it's a tank unit, will just get plus 3 charge bonus. That's a tier 5 technology, ladies and gentlemen. Plus 3 charge bonus. It's 2020, and these are the Wood Elves. Plus 3 charge bonus. They don't even get 5% cheaper. They just get plus 3 charge bonus. Who designs this crap? How do they even get their jobs? Do they even play video games every their lives? That's what I'm wondering. That's the hell what I'm wondering, man. They have the easiest job in the world. They're clueless. They don't even know what they do. They never even play the game. They just input some numbers and they get paid. Holy shit. So this is another complete trash technology that does absolutely nothing. The 10%, it's like, even if you're like playing a fucking StarCraft 2 tournament and everything had to be polished esports and shit, the 10% charge on these units would never be even seen or heard of. The only reason this shit exists is that they're baiting you to make a video with a Spanish guy, you know, talking about it and laughing. Minus 5% chance recruitment cost for Dryad units and plus 7% for Dryads and Tricking and Trimming units. Goddamn, this technology has been bothering me. My eyes have been bleeding just looking at these technologies. This shit has been bothering me for years. Just like one of those things that exists that just icks you the wrong way. It's like people who have OCD. This shit in their game with one of their favorite factions is just you fucking torture, man. It even exists. Might as well be Lord of Torture. Elenil, Lord of fucking Torture. Lord of Destruction. So look at this, what it says here. Elenil, Lord of Destruction. For those that crave the destruction of their enemies, Elenil is always happy to help. What the fuck does destruction have to do with 5% recruitment? What the fuck is a destruction 10% charge values on units that have shit charge? Fucking hell, man. Okay, we got here the Kira, Queen of Vengeance. Ambush success chance plus 20%, ambush event chance plus 20%. This one aged pretty well. Used to be a shit technology. Now it's actually pretty good because the Skaven exists. So you got just a pretty good technology here, filler, to get to the good shit. Eldrazor, Lord of Blades. Weapon strength plus 5% for L infantry units and melee attack plus 5% for L infantry units. What? What the hell is this discrimination? The elves get good shit while the Dryads get dick. This does not work on the Dryads. Dryads are not elf units. They're just shitty forest spirits that don't get the proper buffs. Plus 5% weapon strength for elf infantry units and 5 melee attack. You know what, fuck? 5 melee attack. 5 melee attack is fucking massive. You guys seen what it did with the greenskins? Plus 8 melee attack for all orc units. They're fucking hell making lizardmen shake in their pajamas now. With just getting another 8 melee attack. Greenskins used to be the laughing stock of this game. So you can imagine what these things do. We have Eternal Guard here, just like that. Have 26 melee attack, just gets it like that, 5 melee attack. Just like that, 20% increase. Where are the battle skills? Where the unit experience? All of a sudden this unit actually a spearman that can hit things, not just large units. War dances from 40 to 45. Just like that. Wildwood Rangers, the pseudo sword masters, 48 to 53, just like that. What do Dryads get? 33. They get dick. Plus 10% charge bonus. Trikin, 26. No 5 attack for these guys. So this one is a pretty good technology. If by Warhammer 2 standards it become pretty much average shit, but it's what the elves got. Okay, here we go. Follow up. So Dryads get dick. The elves get good shit. And then look at the next technology. Ammunition plus 10% for all missile units and armor plus 20%. My bad. It used to say plus 20% for like 3 years, but now it's flat 20 armor for the glass cannons of the elves. The elves are glass cannons, the wood elves even more glass cannons. Just like that. 20 armor, flat. Plus 20 armor. All elf units. And cavalry. This is not one of the most powerful technology in the game. I don't know what it is. So let's check some of the elf units. Eternal Guard have, you can almost say medium armor. They're basically, medium armor is like 50. 50, like heavy is like 70 plus. So currently have the best light armor, I guess you could say. And just like that, bam, 50% increase. From 40 to 60. Just like that. All of a sudden they're 7200 health, which is kind of low for a regiment of spearmen. But the stats are pretty good. Armor piercing, anti-large, silver shields, pretty good melee defense. This shit is so fucking deceptive with that health. And then like that, from 40 to 60 armor. War Dancers. They fucking have leather bikinis, 15 armor apparently. Just like that, 133% increase, one technology. In what fucking world power technologies like this exist? Like I said, faction of fucking extremes. Some units get shit, some unit gets ridiculous stuff. Not only the Eternal Guard will live longer and survive longer with the extra 20 armor, but they actually become one of the best tier 1 units in the game. War Dancers, it's a flavor unit which is very effective at dealing damage, but they just die too fast because of Legend difficulty melee. Now, with the extra 20 armor, other buffs, they can actually do more armor, more resistances, more stats, healing. They're 6800 health, which is low 100 combatants. All of a sudden, they're just chopping everything. Pretty fun on the mid game. If you guys missed it, we done a Wood Elf campaign with just melee elf units, and you can see these units in action. Of course, their top dog, the Wildwood Rangers, just like that, 40 to 60 armor. Just like that. Their cavalry, which is light armor, all of a sudden becomes almost heavy armor. Just like that. Their archers, Glade Guard, 15 armor, just like that, 35 armor. Wave Watchers, just like that, 35 armor. All of a sudden, you can't just kill them with cavalry charge, you have to actually grind them a bit. This unit just get deleted by the cavalry, but with 35 armor, they might actually even do some damage now. Have another extreme technology here. More armor for the missile units is great. Armor here, this one is totally busted. When they rework the Wood Elves, this is probably not gonna exist anymore. Who knows what is gonna be here? Who knows? Maybe they don't even touch the technology tree. Maybe in their world this is a good technology tree. The next technology, 20% replenishment, just like that. Just like that. There you go, player. Cap your replenishment. And we said already it leads to the Cain, the Bloody Hand God. So you have some really bad technologies here, like Ill Destruction, Vol, the Maker. Some questionable technology like Cloud-related Mists. More shit like this. So let's get into the Ember ones. Isha the Mother, just like that. 50 growth, 40 relations to the Empire. 1 Ember. There you go. I wouldn't call 40 armor medium, 34 is light, 70 is medium, 100 plus is heavy. No, that's not how it works. Some units are armored, even have armor tag even at a lower ratio. I think heavy is 70 or more. So 1 Ember, you get bonus relation with the Empire and growth plus 50. Why would you need growth with Wood Elves? Well, your starting region will take a while to get to tier 5. Other regions will confederate tier 5. They're gonna get tier 5 before turn 45. So the player will need this to tier 5. You usually don't care a shit about tier 5. It will happen no matter what. Tier 4 is the one you care about. So by getting this, you get a tier 4 earlier. If you're playing with Orion, you care about this. If you're playing with Durtu, you don't really care about this. your stuff is a tier 3 and tier 5. You do get bonus leverage from the Empire, which makes them not likely not to declare war on you, and more likely to be friends with them, trade, and get alliances. So it's just like one button, get massive bonus if you really want it, or you can totally ignore it. Loyalty Trickster, 1 Ember for +3 public order. I don't know what's up with devs and the Wood Elves. Why the Wood Elves have no public order? It is fucking obvious. Fucking obvious. Nobody played a minute of this campaign on Legend difficulty. The main issue with the Wood Elves is their public order. In the forest, they're fucking rebellious. You take an outpost outside the forest, they're just holding hands, singing Kumbaya, no rebellions ever. So you're telling me a Waterfall Palace here is less stable than a fucking settlement on the other side of the world? Well, that's their logic. Why is it so? Taxes are -4 public order, and there is difficulty factor -8. Most factions have ways to deal with the penalty from difficulty. This faction doesn't. This faction doesn't, and that's why the best thing to do in the first 34 turns of the game, just AFK in the forest and farm the rebels. You know, you don't play Wood Elves all the time, so sure, I'll take it. I'll take 4 hours of my life fighting, farming rebels. No public order on the core building. This is the public order building. Hold on, hold on. This is the public order building. Tier 2 and Tier 3. Tier 2 is +2 public order. Tier 3 is +3 public order. This is a Warhammer 1 building, boys. How the fuck do they get to these numbers? I have no idea. Who made these numbers? I have no fucking idea. But this is a tier 1 building, boys. And this is a tier 3 building from Warhammer 2. This is a Warhammer 1 building. This is a Warhammer 2 building. Warhammer 1, Warhammer 2. Different teams, boys. So somebody adds this as a tier 3 building, which you just build. Tier 3, you just build it. You don't need to build tier 2 first. You just build it. This thing costs 1,000 and 2,000. That's 3,000. This building just for 4,000. You just build it. 50 bundles of medicinal supplies and plus 10% casual replenishment rate. Just like that. One building, boys. Warhammer 2, Warhammer 1. What do you get here? 2 public order, 3 elven trinkets, 3 timber, 3 pottery. Fucking rotten peanuts. Here you get 4 kilnful, 4 per timber, and 4 elven trinkets with 3 public order. So you have to build 2 different buildings, pay for 2 different costs, and you get fucking peanuts. And the best thing is you have to build it, otherwise you won't be able to stabilize. The garrison at some point can do it, but dealing with rebellions all the time while you're dealing with other things is fucking tedious. One thing is dealing just rebellions with just early stage of the campaign. And the rebellions, you know what they bring to you? They bring to you free money, experience, items, and after enough rebellions have be happening in the same campaign, give you permanent brain damage. So Warhammer 2 guys, Warhammer 1. They didn't have the decency to go through old buildings to put them to Warhammer 2 standard. They just build this overpowered shit here. If this is not the example of power creep, I don't know what it is. You know, but they forgot about, you know, the Warhammer 1 buildings, like this shit here. Or where is it? Where is their economy building? Yeah, here. So tier 1, you get 800 income. Tier 1, you have 800 income. Tier 2, nothing. And tier 3, you get 1000. I really don't fucking understand this. You know, forced settlement at Aloran. To make things worse, you have to build additional building on tier 2, which gives you 2 barrels of wine. You can't even get drunk with that shit, let alone your whole country. And then you can upgrade it. Listen this, tier 5, tier 5 building. Tier 5 building, you get from 2 barrels of wine to 4 barrels of wine, and you get 4% more income from grape wines. But there is more. There is more. Hold on. There is more. Plus 20%. Plus 20% income. Not to the grape wine in this province, but to the adjacent ones. So you can build this building on tier 2, but on tier 2 you cannot control more than one settlement in the forest. So for get to value from this building other than 2 barrels of wine, you have to control these 2 here. And I kid you fucking not, AI on tier 2 build this building without ever controlling an adjacent region. I'm sorry guys, this brain damage you might not ever recover from. So you have tier 1, not tier 2, you have tier 3, not tier 4 or 5, 800 on tier 1, 1000 on tier 3. Just like that. And then you have a further building which buffs this, but only in adjacent region, not in this region. AI builds it, never controls adjacent regions, so they get 2 barrels of wine, just like that. And there is a tier 5, plus 40%. In one world, a province like one in Ataloran does not deserve 5 tiers of economic building. If this is one fucking mega city one here with fucking 12 building slots, it better have fucking everything. Because settlements like this, they just don't exist in the world. They're gonna be only in a few spots and that's it. They don't exist anywhere else. And then you get shitty outposts. In what world they don't deserve 5 tiers of economic building with some proper fucking numbers and a proper fucking public order stabilization in a fucking massive city, one of the biggest in the game? Well, just the dev logic, you know. We went through the technologies, we've been just talking about public order, how it's shit, and how we are forced to fight rebels for 34 turns. You know, don't get me wrong, the Wood Elves are fun to play. This is one of my favorite factions from Warhammer 1. But there is only so many rebellions a man can do before he starts, you know, breaking keyboards and hitting his family members. It's like only so many fucking they can do. They fucking didn't spend 1 minute of this campaign playing on Legend difficulty. They probably started this campaign Legend difficulty and 12 public order here. 12 public order. Enter, turn 5. Oh boys, everything is good. Yes, we tested this. Everything is good. Let's go. Let's go work on 3 kingdoms. So public order, main issue number 1. It's not even a thing of difficulty, it's fucking tedious. Rebellions is a good thing. I've done tens of thousands of rebellions. 20, 30,000 of rebellions. I milk them dry. You know, but me, even the most patient person playing this game for 5,000 hours, I have limits, man. I have limits, you know. There's a number of rebellions I can do in a single campaign before I start getting brain damage. Minus 12 public order starting turn 1 of the campaign without any access to public order. It's obvious if they want to keep this trash rebellion system, which is basically just abusable to the player advantage, doesn't bring anything to the game. Well, they just need to add public order in the core building. They just have to add proper fucking tiers to the fucking massive Wood Elf settlements. If you have a 12 source settlement, it better have some fucking options and not some trash. Better those options require hundreds of thousands of gold to build up. Otherwise, what the fuck are you gonna spend your money on? The best thing is, you don't even have to spend money on the armies, guys. If you have seen the recent Legend of Total War Dirty Cheddar Cheese, you just get into attrition, man, and you don't even have to pay for armies. You just get money, queue units. That's it. What the fuck are we gonna use money for? Just go negative, 2-3 million. Keep making armies. Break the game, right? Public order and the buildings in the Wood Elf cities, it just makes no sense. It should be numerous tiers, numerous buildings. It's fucking 12 slots. There are no fucking options. You basically just build things because there is nothing else to build. And this are not options, it's basically just forcing you to build shit. So let's talk about the buildings, since we're talking about our buildings already. The core building, it started with tier 1, it's 14 income, 20 growth, 3 slots. So they have the biggest settlements in the game, but this is all they get. You have 4 settlements here. You have 1 settlement here, and 1 settlement here. These are all the Wood Elf settlements. There are some other options for Wood Elves, either via, you know, bugs, oversights, and them being magical forest, like the Gain Vale, but this is not Wood Elves settlements. They could be controlled by the Wood Elves, but this is not their rightful place. So you have 6 Wood Elf settlements in the world. Pretty sure this one was copy pasted from the King's Glade, because there was a King's Glade landmark there for a bit, and you have one up there. This is all you have. High Elves are pretty much your main friend in the world, while everybody else, the Elves are pretty much your main friend in the world, while you pretty much could play with friends with everybody else if you're not tolerate them. But flavor-wise, the Elves are your best friends. You could conquer or you could ally, just up to you. But just hold on before you consider that. So we have a settlement here, which gives you massive slots. Already on tier 1 you have 3 slots. And that's how you fucking do it. That's how you fucking do it. I wonder if any of those devs, you know, just starts a campaign and they just look at this. Look at that Waterfall Palace, tier 1. 3 settlement slots. Then you go to a fucking campaign like... hold on guys, bear with me. And then you go to a campaign like... I don't know. I don't know. There's like so many of them. Let's say Kalida. Then you go for campaign like Kalida. This is not even the worst example, but one of the worst examples. So, Waterfall Palace, tier 1. You have started with military building and 2 more slots. You can pick what to build. Holy shit, you can get an economy building, growth building, and you start with military building. God damn, huh? It's almost like they know what they're doing. But then you go into a fucking campaign like this, and this is your capital. You have 1 slot, and you start with barracks, which you need to recruit units. You get 1 fucking slot. So you need public order, you need income, you might need garrison, you need growth. Holy shit, there's even spices here. What the fuck? Why are there multiple slots here? This is not even the worst example. Let's go show you the worst example. The only reason this shit is tolerable is because the Black Arcs exist.
Kraken Lord of Karen Khan.
This is Loki Felhart. He used to be a really shit tryhard faction, but is actually pretty good these days. They just missed to give him some proper naval stuff, and he's golden. So let me show you guys his starting capital. This is Chupacabra here, Chupayotl. This is it. Tier 2. Get a fucking port. Now, apparently ports, you know, are good for money. You know, even if they strict you of all options possible. And then you get barracks here. You can't even build anything here at the start. That's it. Growth, public order, walls. Holy shit, there's gold here. Are they fucking serious? The reason you start with a Black Arc is the only reason you don't die from brain bleeding. From brain damage. It's obvious that the settlement system has to change. Because look at this shit. There's so many settlements like this in the world. Xandri being another example. So there's a force port. Ports are not a good thing, guys. There might be money on them, but fuck ports. They take a slot in the city. 400. They better give me 600 for taking my slot in the city. Not give me no options. Ports are not a good fucking thing. I had the audacity to nerf the ports at one time. This is not a good thing. Ports are shit. Give me my fucking options. There's a 1200 gold mine here. I used to be in Total War, like Shogun 2. Holy shit, this city has port. Man, this is a great settlement. Rome 2, what happened? Rome doesn't even get a port. 5 slots, not even 6 slots. Jesus Christ. You understand what happens in Rome 2? Let's say you have a port settlement like Marienburg. You start with a free port immediately. There's an extra slot. And then you go to Talabheim. There is no port. But instead of that port, there is additional slot for something else. In Rome fucking 2, the city of Rome, the greatest city in the world, maybe not for another century, has 5 slots. You can't even build a port. Who are these people? Where did they hire them? What happened to the people from before? And they still shovel this shit here with minor settlements. Probably still working there, like, man, reminds me of the Bethesda No Talent the RPG guys, you know, they have them probably because of, you know, you've been here for the first 20 years, you have no talent, but we can't let you go, man. Well, the audio and visual team will carry on the game. We'll have shit RPGs for the next generation again. So, this is what for Palace, tier 1, you have 3 fucking slots. At least one thing is done right here, right? At least one thing is done right here, you have options. But then again, what the hell are really these options? The garrison here, the only reason you need garrison here is because of the fucking rebels, because the public order is shit. Nobody's gonna fucking dare go into the forest with the army here. Then we go to their garrison building. 3 tiers, not fucking 2 tiers, but 3 tiers. So, usual settlement, start garrison tier 2, 3, 4, or a Warhammer 2 faction, sell some of them tier 3, 4, and 5. And you get your shit. Minor settlement, you have a garrison tier 2 and then tier 3 coming with a wall. So, what they do with the Wood Elves? The Wood Elves have no walls, which is fine. You don't need walls, they have strong units. Strong units, strong buffs. You're fucking fighting forests. They come here. It's like you're gonna give them their Viet Cong, then they're gonna be able to do shit. They're just gonna go home crying. And look at this. So you get 12 slots, but the garrison building is split into 3 different buildings. Fucking hell, 3 different buildings. Oh, hold on. My bad. As a defense category, as a 4 building now as well. If you're scared of the Redmen. So this is the garrison building, tier 1. Holy shit, that's an impressive tier 1 building. Just like that, get 4 extra units of garrison. 2 Glade Guard Starfire Shafts, read that, pre-Sisters of Alvon. Then tier 2, holy shit, 2 Wildwood Rangers. Are you saying that we build a tier 2 building and we get Wildwood Rangers? What? On tier 2 building? Will some units keep their Skeleton Spearmen on tier 4? God damn, I'll take that shit. We still have, you know, Sisters of Avalon. The Eternal Guard for some reason become Thresh Riders. And then you get tier 3. What the fuck happened? 4 units into 5 units and overall better units. And then 5 units, better units into 5 units, worse units. What the shit? You have 3 different buildings, so giving you an illusion that there is actual buildings in the city. A fucking Argilon forest with this many slots, this important to the Wood Elves, to their existence, should have fucking 5 tiers of garrison. Then you have tier 1, sure, tier 2, hell yeah, and tier 3, fucking worse. So from 1 Hawk Rider, 2 Wild Rangers, 2 Glade Guard Starfire Shafts, into one Hawk Rider, 2 Wild Rangers, 2 Deepwood Scouts with Swift Shiver Shards. Deepwood Scouts pretty much multiplayer units. They are carefully esports balanced, so they don't get proper damage because they're running and shooting. Because the Wave Watchers are overpriced as fuck, you know, so you just can't spam them in multiplayer. And that's it. Another example where the upgrade of the tier building is just worse. To make the matters worse, we are playing Durtu and not with Orion, and we don't even get any Dryads, not Trikin at all in these garrisons. So, great city, 12 slots, illusion of options, shitty options. Where is tier 4, tier 5? It should be like 4 units, 5 units, 6 units, 7 units, 8 units. And every time fucking better units. If you're gonna have like the dust to split this shit into 2 different buildings. You get 12 slots, you don't get walls, you get questionable garrison, but there is more. For actually these units to have a chance without the walls, fighting in a forest against massive army that could come into the city. At this day and age, usually full veteran armies, maybe even more than one. You get defense building. Just like that, there you go. Double armor, better reload, more melee defense. Even more, even more. So you get this ridiculous bonus on tier 4 plus 30 melee defense and plus 30% reload time reduction. And your Wave Watchers basically shoot for days, and you still get, of course, 50-50 balance of power. So they split this shit in 2 buildings, but there's more. This questionable 5 garrison building, you know, there's another garrison building here with 2 War Dancers. But Elich, why are you complaining about these things? Don't you always say here, every faction should have additional garrison options, not just, you know, one garrison building? Well, true that, Mr. Viewer who pays attention, true that. But what the fuck is this shit? A tier 2 building with 2 War Dancers, enemy hero actions chance minus 20%. Who the fuck even gonna go into the forest? And then minus 50% and still tier 5, 2 War Dancers. It's almost like they just taking a chopper, just chopped down one building and they made 3 buildings just because it's 12 slots. If you're fucking gonna do buildings like this, make sure they're actually proper buildings. How we call this a tier 5 building? Just looking at these buildings give me brain damage. The 2 Asrai Spears are very good units. But you build this and you build that, and what the fuck is the purpose of this? Tier 5, ladies and gentlemen. You know, this is the tier that the developers never reach because they never really, you know, play their campaigns past turn 50 or after 2 hours, as you know, we all know. So, when you hit tier 5, you know, we people who, you know, are suckers that actually play their games more than a couple of hours and a couple of days in a campaign. If we get out through a fucking tier 5, it better be a tier fucking 5 and not some bullshit. Tier 5 should matter. Not just be some kind of shitty filler. So if they want to split this building like this and make the settlement matter on 12 tiers, heck, a settlement like this with 12 tiers should get all the fucking garrison from the core building. Remove shit like this, remove shit like that, and just keep the defense building in 5 different tiers, with every 3rd tier adding additional garrison with bonuses. So you already have here, I mean, I don't even fucking know why this exists, just, you know, AI building. You might even read out this underground location, and a type of building should say AI building. Because devs are not kidding anybody with this shit. This is an AI fucking building so they can troll the fucking Skaven player. So they have only 1 defense building and it should be on 5 tiers. Keep the defense building like it is and add the garrison on every 2nd tier, better. Delete this, delete that, and rename this to AI building. Because this is an AI fucking building, not patrols building. So this is when it comes to garrisons. The garrisons are strong. I really never, in Warhammer 2, I don't even remember if we actually faced a proper army. Because of all these bonuses. I think they always ignore you, except the rebels, which are not supposed to even be here. So we never really had a situation where we use the garrison building, defense building, and tier 5 garrison fighting in a battle, because the AI usually sends more than enough, and then you either have to fight for your life to win. With their high ranks, probably you can win against 2 stacks, but depending which faction this might be doable. So all this extra garrison and extra shit and extra buildings doesn't matter at all. Like, the only thing that matters is the defense building, right? And this is just, you know, illusion that is gonna help you. Well, it doesn't really do anything. So the whole defense could be just a single building, and not you know, forcing you to build 2 different buildings just because for the sake of not building anything else. Thing is, the Ateloran has 4 settlements, and you're gonna have Ateloran. Ateloran is yours. And when you look at the settlement, military recruitment has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 buildings. Military recruitment will be probably built in 2 different settlements. Split in 2, no doubt. And that's it. What the fuck with the rest of the slots, right? You have a Ateloran unique building, which is of questionable value. Really fucking questionable. Their recruitment buildings are just pretty standard, you know. Pretty standard. You get Tunnel Guard on tier 1, you get Vodans on tier 2, you get Valve Rangers on tier 3. What I don't understand, why they don't just put the cavalry together with melee building, make it 5 tiers. Put these things on tier 3, these things on tier 4, and these things on tier 5. So they pushing yet another unnecessary building. Why not just one building, 5 different tiers? It's okay to have 5 different tiers of building developers, it's okay. It's like what we wanna see. We wanna see fucking options, fucking variety, and fucking strong options. You know, build this or that, not just building one thing because everything else sucks. Forcing different military buildings is a bad for the game. It's only for the AI, and it even weakens the AI. So you get your melee building, which will pretty much just be all melee units, including the cavalry. Then you have your range building. Look at this. Provincial capital allows you to recruit a Glade Guard, which is your standard unit, like skeleton zombies for the vampire counts, spearmen and archers for the empire. Here you get a Glade Guard, and then you have to build another building to get another set of tier 1 Glade Guard, with the Starfire Shafts somehow being a tier 2 unit, which is a little bit absurd, which the Starfire Shafts Glade Guard are stronger than Deepwood Scouts. And Deepwood Scouts is a carefully esports balanced unit, which doesn't really have a place in a single player campaign. As you start using Glade Guard Higman Tips and the Glade Guard Starfire Shafts, then just wait for the Wave Watchers, and this unit doesn't exist. Cavalry building, we said pretty much. Sister of Tona under tier 5. Well, it's a pretty impressive unit. They have 2 bounce spells and massive resistance. They used to have even more resistance, but you know, Precious Multiplier get nerfed. They used to have 50 physical resistance with even more durability. It used to actually be a really fun unit to use. It's still a unit you might want to consider one in every army just to get the 2 additional abilities. Having a bound Shield of Taunts and Curse of Honor is strong, and they can do some harassment and damage. So is it a tier 5 unit? It's almost a tier 5 unit, but being a tier 5 unit, sure, it is. Glade Riders are the same shit as the Deepwood Scouts. It's just multiplayer cancer units, which have been carefully esports balanced. Technology should be exist to double their armor piercing damage, but you know, they don't really care about separating multiplayer and single player. And then you have the Forest Spirit buildings. It's basically Durtu stuff, Dryads, 3 Keen, Branch Rate 3 Men. You still consider this building even with Ryan because you're getting branch rates, but you could even go without the branch rates. I do like the branch rates because of the absurdness with the stacking on the ward save and replenishment, but the moment you get this technology, the branch rates kind of lose value. It's a pretty average hero with some serious options. And then you have a building that who the fuck even builds in the game? I have no idea. Carefully balanced esport units and the units that don't deserve a slot in the army. Regarding units like the Great Spirit, they should be like Feral Manticore, Feral Wyvern. These units, you should basically just buy these units at the side, like have some kind of options. I don't know, different tab. You know, hire these units and you have them in your special reinforcement pool. You're in a battle and you can use them there to help you. They could be one time or until they die, and they come as reinforcements. They do not deserve a slot in the army in a campaign. The fact that you even have to build this building, look at this, 4,000 and a 5,000. Hold on, guys, hold on. You see what this says here? 9 fucking thousand gold to recruit a Great Eagle. 9 fucking thousand gold to get a Great Eagle building. Oh my god, I'm getting a headache, just bear back. Okay, say it out loud with me, boys. 9,000 gold and a building slot to recruit a Great fucking Eagle. You need a building slot and 9,000 gold to recruit a Great Eagle. Eagles are a terrible version of dragons, but they tend to be my answer to artillery. Okay. Let me do you a favor there, Mr. Viewer. Never recruit Great Eagle, just recruit Hawk Riders. They'll kill artillery faster. And they can also shoot from the air. We'll talk about Hawk Riders when we get that. We're going through buildings now. There is a tier 5 building here, Dragon Lair, 6,000, and it just recruits dragons. That's fair. That's fair. No need to ask much from that. Okay. So basically, let me tell you what happens. You send an eagle on a unit like Hell Cannon, the Hell Cannon still keeps firing. You send you get the eagle on a unit of organ guns, they still keep firing, they don't give a shit about a bird. You send in the Hawk Riders, there are 24 of them. The artillery crew gonna get shredded. Shredded. 10 times faster than the eagle will ever shred it. The eagle have a chance to destroy the artillery pieces, but you have 24, you have one here. Military support buildings. They have spell singers building on tier 2, which have 4 tiers for some reason. The first one only gives capacity for spell singers, look at that. Basically, you get a really early cheap wizard, and which is a pretty strong unit. Can't really complain about that. But this is a tier 2. When you go to tier 3, what does it do? Unlocks hero recruitment spell singer, hero capacity is +1 for spell singers. Tier 3, same shit, but hero recruitment +1 for the spell singers. You get +1 rank. So instead of recruiting that spell singer in rank 1, you can recruit a spell singer on rank 2 for 25,000 gold. You guys hearing this? 2,500 gold. That's 1 rank. And then on a tier 4, you don't get any capacity. Instead of recruiting on rank 2, you recruit them on rank 3. And you get a garrison of spell singer life, which is, I guess, good enough. So, clearly wrong with this. Where the hell are the additional ranks? Branch rate gets +1 capacity, and you get +2 capacity. Not even a single fucking rank. Well, the fucking ranks. This one gives 1 capacity, no capacity, no capacity. So you basically unlock all the capacity only on tier 2. Which begs the question, why ever build tier 3 or tier 4? Wasting 6,000 for nothing. So usually how it goes, you control Alta Lauren. build it here, 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 and here. If you have door 2, it gives you 3 more capacity. And then you fucking recruit every single possible capacity, and then you remove these buildings and pretend they never existed. Because, you know, meta min-maxing, why would you even bother keeping these buildings? This is probably should be another one of those buildings that have tier 5, give +2 capacity in the highest tier, and probably like 6 or 8 ranks on the highest tier. It's just not good enough. This is just bare bones and not put much thought of it. The fact it has 3 different tiers and it does this, it just gives me brain damage. Armory, you know, they still push this type of thing, you know, it's probably just removed from the game. You have to build this so you can get shields and Sarai spears. Buildings like this don't really fit the Total War anymore, if you ask me. It should be just one streamlined armory providing more bonuses, faction-wide bonuses, instead of just unlocking recruitment. It's just not fun, and you have a limited slots in the beginning of the game. So let's say I want to get Eternal Guard with shields. Oh, look at this, it's tier 1. Oh, I can't even recruit it. I have to build this building, but I can't recruit him yet because I don't have tier 2, and I have to build another building. So you have to get 2 buildings. Extra costs. Might as well just use the regular Eternal Guard in the start. This type of buildings really don't fit the game anymore unless they provide other bonuses. Recruitment, some faction-wide stackable bonuses like armory on the Bretonia. Anything, ranks. Just bare bones. Just bare bones taking a slot. And the worst thing, if you want to use the Sarai Spears, Valkyrie Shields, and Eternal Guard, you have to build it. And it pains you to have to build shit like this. It doesn't do anything other than just unlocking recruitment on a building that already is supposed to unlock recruitment. Same shit with this. Starfire Shafts. It's a powerful early game unit with armor-piercing damage, like earlier versions of Sister of Avalon, but just use the Hegman tips. Who the fuck is gonna wait tier 2 here and tier 2 building there? Spend the money which you don't have in the early game just to get archers to do a little bit more damage. Well, these ones are only gonna be good enough with what you have until you get stuff like Wave Watchers. And you have to recruit immediately and you're gonna run out of money. So are you telling me you're gonna wait tier 2? You're gonna wait tier 2 to get this before recruiting anything, because recruiting all those archers will cost you 500 to 600 per the archer. It's just there's like no logic or convenience in the early game. You have to spend money to recruit the other ones and then replace them. You have to build extra buildings. You have to wait. It's just not good enough. It's just extra money, spending money, and you don't get really anything that special. As these units will be replaced, the Glade Guard are not here permanently. That's it for the military support buildings. Pretty much, there's only one relevant building, which is Spell Singers. Everything else is just not good enough bare bones. Might as well be greenskin buildings. We already went through the defenses, you know, pretty much one building that mattered, the rest is just gives you an illusion of safety. And this one is for the AI. On the infrastructure, oh boy, here we go. Here we go, infrastructure. 1500, not 500, not 400, not 600, but 1500. One of the most expensive growth buildings in the fucking game. What's the reason for that? I don't know, but they made it 1500 2 turns. Just compare it to other factions' growth buildings. This one gives you some force, but nobody gives a shit in the early game to trade with you. Arglon, Vidriot, and Torgman are the only ones that can trade with you. They hate you, and if you don't get trade, doesn't really matter. If you get trade, you get a little bit more money. Totally relevant. You're not even gonna make this money until you're confederate, anyways. Over fucking priced growth building with questionable trade value, but it's still a good building. if you have the money. The only reason you need growth is to get your core building to tier 4 and 5. Heck, you might even just get tier 3 and then wait for the rest while you're doing other stuff. You're going to confederate the rest of the forest in tier 5. Sometimes they might raise one of your settlements and you have to rebuild them, but population will be there. Or you can just spend 1 ember here for 50 growth and ignore that the building even exists. Getting both is it's probably not worth it. This is all your money investment in the early game, the money you don't have. Pretty much only money you get early game is from the core building, from the settlement, and from the rebels. Until you raise a couple of settlements, you'll have no money to have a luxury like extra 10 growth. Building on a tier 1 is usually the way to go, but upgrading it's not worth it, it's overpriced and questionable value. This is how we come to a good building here, 800 tier 1 income building. This is a Wood Elves which have big cities with 12 slots, but they have a tier 2 economy building, no tier 2. Tier 3 gets additional 200, which is what the fuck. Should probably be higher, 1200 or 1400. There should be really factions like this that should have 5 tiers of economic building. Why is it so wrong? Put huge gold sinks on the buildings, especially economic buildings, on multiple tiers. Not just Wood Elves, but nearly every faction in the game should have an option to build 5 tiers of economic building in their capital, starting from tier 1. Let's make the tier 4 and 5 very expensive. It's a big gold sink that takes a while to, to get money back, but you still make the money. Give you options to actually build this shit. Why is it always an option to get more expand? Big settlements like this totally makes sense to have a lot of buildings which also have options on multiple tiers. Even if tier 4 might not be worth to build, you should exist there until you unlock other stuff like cheaper construction. Make this building worth it when you get this technology. So having 800 on tier 1 and 1000 on tier 3, this is very strange. And the building that buffs this is the wine production, but only buffs the adjacent ones. I don't even want to mention this 2 wine. Please guys, don't even mention this 2 wine or this 3-4 shit here. It's just fucking nonsense. 16 here is one thing. Having 4-4-4 here is fucking stupid. You should have like at least 8 of each. This should be like probably 10 barrels, 20 barrels. Tier 2 building, tier 5 buildings. Fucking joke. Then you have Elven Healer's Hut. 50 fucking bundles. 1 building. 3 buildings, 16. 2 fucking buildings, 4-4-4. 2 buildings, fucking 4. 1 building here, tier 3. 50. Warhammer 2, Warhammer 1, Warhammer 1, Warhammer 1. You see huge discrepancies between the buildings and it just looks fucking terrible. This one probably should have double the force if they want to keep these costs. Well, I really want to see this one have 5 tiers. Maybe even tier 1, 3 and 5. And this value is questionable. This money is just gonna give you some starting military. You're gonna get so much money from the battles you're not even ever gonna be able to spend it. So it looks a little bad in the early game. The late game is like it's totally trivial. It's why the fuck are you even building this? It's so stupid. 333 public order 2. This is their public order building. If they go with a shitty design like this, absolute trash design, dumpster set on fire, they should at least make it 5 tiers or more tiers. This starting on tier 1, tier 2, and every other tier after that giving bonuses. Even if they want with this shit design, should be 3332 on tier 1, and then this one on tier 2, and then the next one with 5554, 6665, up to tier 5. Why they just give you just these 3 limited options here? This is not even good enough, but you have to build it because there's no other options on Legend. You need a public order. Pains me to build this building every time. Trade with Wood Elves is relevant. These are the Warhammer 2 buildings. So this is the Warhammer 1 trash that has not been updated. Then you have the Warhammer 2 buildings. Let's look at this. One building on tier 3, 4000, you get 50 medicinal plants. All of a sudden, trade actually becomes a profitable option. Not just with other wood elves, but with other factions. And you get 20% replenishment locally. This is Warhammer 2. Warhammer 1 trash. Not updated. Then you have another Warhammer 2 building. Look at this. Tier 4, 6000, low recruit rank plus 1 faction wide, sure. Tax rate plus 20%. Just like that, bam, 20% more money in the settlement. Here recruit rank plus 4 for waste talkers and low recruitment capacity plus 2. You can see huge differences between the Warhammer 2 buildings and the Warhammer 1. 4 barrels on tier 5. Only 2 options. What the fuck are these values? Questionable, it's just like illusion of you have options and variety, and it's just all dog shit. And you have to build because there's nothing else. They don't have a proper trade building, they don't have proper income building, and they don't even have a proper public core building. But it really pains me when I see a building like this. Heck, this one is almost passable. When you see a building like this is fucking tier 5, right? 4 barrels of wine. Income from grapevines plus 40%. Not even locally, but adjacent. AI builds it, never controlling an adjacent region. And then you have like this. Just like that. 50 and 20% replenishment. One building. Tier 3. There's a huge differences here. The other buildings are the temples, which you can build one per wood elf settlement. Which provide some definitely impressive bonuses. The Elven Gods, casualty replenishment rate plus 10% faction wide. You know, sounds really good, but when you have a branch rate that provides replenishment, pencils provide replenishment, and you have a overpowered technology plus 10% replenishment, it's just overkill, trash. It's just redundant. Why does it even exist? Who knows? Should be definitely something else. So this is like one of them shit designs where they don't take into account other stuff. Absolutely pointless. Then you have Temple 1 Terema. Chance of intercepting an army using the underway Bispats or Worlds plus 10% arms faction wide. Sure, they will not escape from you. Income from post-battle loot plus 10% faction wide. This is actually noticeable bonuses, especially early. We actually built in the last Alliance campaign and we're getting money early, more money early from rebels. Extra economy early better than any of these infrastructure options other than the wine, core wine building. So totally noticeable. Pointless. You have a Temple of Kronos plus 5% campaign moon range. All characters. You can have 4 of these, you get plus 10%. Beautiful. And then you have Temple of Ered Kial, wins the magic power reserve plus 10 all armies. Well, the only problem with this building is because the second campaign moon range is just so good, so useful that the other two, you know, lose to it. But these 3 are all pretty much good bonuses. This type of temple design, temple build system, they're giving you options, illusion of options. It should just be deleted from the game, scrapped, and they should pretty much just give you temples tier 1 to tier 5, and the tier 2, 3, the higher options just being extremely more expensive, and provide all these bonuses in every single fucking settlement. Fucking gold sinks and proper bonuses, not let you pick when there's really no options here. Really, you pretty much just gonna take a moment or power reserve. Power reserve is pretty impressive. You get 4 of these plus 40 power. It's like having a better Black Pyramid of Nagash. This temple should pretty much be one building that's upgradable. Or if you build one, the next one costs double. This is not really any options. This is like better variety and just forcing you to get good stuff. The only reason to get some of this is to unlock the technologies which require temples. You're always gonna go pretty much with one thing. You can save so much time, effort, initiative, and get a edge on them by just having an extra movement. Most of the time that movement will be wasted, but when you need it, you get a huge advantage. Just think about it, fighting enemy, the AI just ridiculous spams whole new armies in 2-3 turns. But when you one turn fast to their cities, they just die. Never have a chance to recover. That's moon damage for you. More power, magic is very powerful. When applied right, it can be the difference between a victory and defeat. The fact you can get more power makes all the difference. So it makes stuff like this space daily game non-viable because you get money from raising anyways, and stuff like this trash because there are better options. I really hope they add some spicy buildings here and some proper stuff here regarding temple and infrastructure, because this is like, you know, you think there's a lot of buildings, but it's really not really a lot of buildings. You're forced to build some, and the other ones really no options. It's just you build the good stuff. The only time that somebody's gonna build this stuff here if they have a clueless and just start playing the game, and just, you know, oh shit, this sounds good. 10% replenishment, I'll pick that. And then, you know, because he didn't read the technology tree, 10 turns later he researches this technology. And then like plus 30% replenishment, and he has a branch rate in the army as well. Poor guy doesn't even know how replenishment works, thinking he's getting 70% more replenishment, escape at 50, and you know, ignorance is bliss, and just play the game. Don't even understand what's under the hood. But when you understand what the fuck this works, and you know, you start making you know, question if, you know, if these devs know what they're doing when they're adding options like that. Especially when they create a building like this for the Wood Elves. It's like totally redundant. They had some of the best replenishment since the Warhammer 1. So this is it for the buildings. I guess we'll talk about the units next. We'll start with the Lords. So basically you have Ancient Treemen, which are some of the most powerful regular Lords in the game. Look at his stats. Look at his health. Just look at this shit. Physical resistance. Get free arcane content in the trees. Terror. Siege attacker. Lord of Life. Oh my god, this is some of the most absurd thing in the game. And when you look at the set of skills with the flavor of the forest spirits, just like that, 20% ward save on a 20 physical resistance unit, on a unit that can get additional physical resistance, additional ward save. It's just what not to love. Lord of Life and a powerful Lord. Even if it's slow at dealing damage, it will still do some damage. Melee expert stuff. The stats are just obscene. So you have Ancient Treeman, which is one of the most powerful support lords in the game. The only downside is slow and big, but it has a lot of life, so really crazy healing potential. And the standard stuff for the Wood Elves. I guess we can talk about the skills since we are here. So the Ancient Treemen have the Skewering Branch, just buffs the Dryads and Treekin, more damage, they really need it, especially early game. These are the units which you can use throughout the game. Dryads kinda lose their value past the early game. 20% more ward save for Treekin, this is beyond absurd. Add on that, top of that, healing magic, and you're gonna forget about their low offense. Their standard also is reload time reduction plus 20%, just like that. The whole army just gets 12% better reload time reduction. Makes them some of the best archers in the game. Speed Hunter, just like that, all the elves get 6% more speed. You have a standard skill for fighting here. Most likely just overkill the things which you basically get for the filler for Disciple Lords. The Lord of Life is usually stuff you're gonna prioritize with the battle skills. There's a weird skill here which requires 2 skill points, which is kinda redundant considering there are other skills. There should probably just be one skill, probably just one here, and you can just probably pick one. The fact this one exists in the stream is a little bit weird. Stuff like this should just be one skill point. Their battle skills are pretty good, or even if some of the units' placement is strange. Like the Piercing Taunts have 8 melee attack and 12% weapon strength for Eternal Guard and Dryads. This for the Dryads is fucking amazing, but I would like to see Eternal Guard and the Dryads separated from the battle skill. I want to see Eternal Guard together with War Dancer, Wild Rangers, because they make no sense that they're together with Dryads. Dryad should probably be in the same tree as the 3 Keen and 3 Men, and the Eternal Guard should be in the same with War Dancer Old Rangers. This basically makes you, not really want to consider buffing these early game units. Miss a whole tier of units or skip just basically extra skill points. Like I said, you don't have you can just pick everything with the rest of the skills. Just buffing some of the early game stuff is just not worth it. This is a skill which is either basically just a filler skill, or if you're really bad in the early game, this skill will make your early game much easier, especially if you're gonna be relying on Eternal Guards holding the line or the Dryads to actually do anything. You don't even want to consider relying on Dryads unless you get this skill. The other skill is reload time reduction, missile strength for their archers, archer infantry, which is pretty crazy. Usually how the factions have it, they have it reload time reduction and the ammunition, but Wood Elves go directly for damage and reload, which makes them some of the deadliest range units from the start of the game. So you get both reload and missile strength, which is both do the one thing, increase the damage on these units. The striking branches grant speed and charge bonus to the cavalry. The Wood Elf cavalry is good, but they suffer the problem of the cavalry in the game. Too many siege battles or enough field battles. So Grey Riders probably not going to be used outside multiplayer, unless you're really sucker for the horse archers, so that have been balanced for the esports and not really for the campaign. They're pretty much missing armor piercing technology to actually be viable in the campaign. The Wild Riders are pretty damn good. 1 or 2 in the army is amazing. Always can find crazy value in the field battles, while in the sieges is basically just a dead unit. And the Scissor Thorn, this is one of those one-off units in the army. It's just pretty damn good with 2 extra spells, and it can tank or just harass. The swinging bows buffs your more important elf infantry, the War Dancer and the Wild Rangers. War Dancers are a flavor unit which is totally optional. You can use the Eternal Guard all the way to Wild Rangers, totally skip the War Dancers. Or you can also use War Dancer Tri-Spear later as well, so if you have a combination. Overall, if you have to just pick one of them, you just pick Eternal Guard or you just pick the Wild Rangers, depending on your playstyle. With Eternal Guard, you basically just react, while with the Wild Rangers, you can react and both just go through the enemy. The Ancient Bark buffs the 3 Keen and the 3 Man units with totally redundant stuff. It makes them absurdly overkill. These are some of the toughest units in the game, literally unkillable in the player hands. More physical resistance and more armor, which is totally questionable how they even work on this game. It should probably just be armor and damage. And like I said, the Dryads should be part of this skill, and the Eternal Guard should be part of this skill, which means one of these skills should just be removed from the game. This skill is bad for the game, if you ask me, because they're both buffing a tier 1 unit and overall wasting your skill points when you consider buffing these units. Let's just face it, we want our units to be strong, we want our units to be effective, and we don't want to fucking waste skill points. In a game where there is no respec, and when you switch to the later units, it's not fun to have systems like this. And the devs don't really get it yet, but they might get it in a couple of years. The Reddit is getting louder and louder about shit like this. Putting Eternal Guard on this battle skill and putting the Dryads on this battle skill makes perfect sense, except this attack and weapon strength should be Ancient Bark, physical resistance and armor instead. So pretty much this one removed from the game. Attack and weapon strength be here instead, and Dryads 3 Keen and 3 Men being on the same battle skill. While the War Dancer and the Wild Rangers together with Eternal Guard get attack and melee defense. This would be a way better way, make more sense how the armies are built. Which means one less battle skill here, and this one totally can be removed from the game, which is overkill. The last one here is the weapon strength, charge bonus and reload time reduction for the Hawk Riders, Great Eagles and Forest Dragons. It's another redundant skill, but if you like playing with flying units, you get some value out of it. Having more weapon strength for the Forest Dragon is pretty good. The Hawk Riders just get some bonus for melee and some bonus for range, so nothing really that special. For the Great Eagle, this is a really shit skill. In the veteran area, there's a Shield of Forest, Physical Resistance, Armor, Melee Defense, Eternal Guard, Dryads, War Dance, Wild Rangers. Pretty damn good, can't complain about this. This is goddamn amazing for the War Dancers and the Infantry. It's just a really good one. At this point, you're probably not even gonna use Dryads anymore, and they're not easy to keep alive at that point. We'll talk more about Dryads when we talk about the units after the skills. The Wild Rangers is your highest quality unit. They have health, they have armor, and they have stats. They're kind of like pseudo sword masters with some versatility. Having them have more armor, defense, and physical resistance is amazing. Nature's Quiver, just your standard range veteran battle skill. You get more ammo, missile resistance, and range for the Clay Guardian, Foot Scouts, and the Way Watchers. That range buff is a little bit absurd because they can get their range just from traits, but you know, it's fine to have there. You might go for different traits like the Winds of Magic Power Reserve. Swift and Sturdy is for the Wild Riders, Glade Riders, Scissor Thorn, and the Hawk Riders. Defense, weapon strength, charge bonus, and missile strength. Just a really solid one for the cavalry. For the Wild Riders, this one is amazing. For the other units, it's a little bit questionable. The Forest Roar, missile resistance, melee attack, and melee defense over 3 kin, 3-man, Great Eagle, and Forest Dragon. Pretty damn good for the Forest Dragon, and the fact that 3 kin get more melee attack, which they really needed. It's like this is gonna be the point where they can actually start doing some damage. For the 3-man, it doesn't really matter, but for the 3 kin is pretty big. That missile resistance is again overkill for the 3 kin and 3-man. Well, the Forest Dragon will need it. And there's a melee defense here, you know, the usual copy pasta, nothing special. And we have the campaign battle skills, which are in the Warhammer 1 era of campaign skills. The starting ones are not good enough, and pretty much bare bones with questionable value, other than the Lightning Strike. While the Wood Elves that got also released in the same year as Warhammer 1, they tried too hard with them. That's pretty much the word, try too hard. My policy for the campaign skills with Wood Elves, just ignore, just get a movement range, that's it. But you know, every now and then you have a campaign, you might need to consider some options. 30% more post-battle loot, that's a good economic skill. It will definitely add you money, but it's gonna be overkill past the early game. Plus 3 untainted, why does this even exist? I don't know. Enemy hero action success chance 3 points for minus 30%. Stuff like this should probably be 1 point, and then you have 1 point for the replenishment, which is just good in the very early stages of the game. The Wood Elves get too much replenishment. The technology alone is enough, and you get the branch rate as well. Global recruitment capacity plus 1. You get post-battle chance of stealing magic item plus 50%, 3 points for this skill. That is mind-bogglingly stupid. Should be a type of scouting on that combined with this one as well, giving you higher chance to find magic items too. 3 points to just get 5% more chance of stealing a magic item, which most enemies will not even have magic items to steal from. There's another skill here for replenishment, total overkill 1.10%, but you know, it's great value for 1 point. And you get 3 skill points here for recruit rank plus 3 for all units. I mean, you might think this is good, but the Wood Elf units with the battle skills, some technologies, and how they basically work, they're effective, which means they get experience pretty fast. There's some of the most powerful outers all in the game, which guarantees you experience no matter what type of unit, even a melee units, not just range. So the early levels are irrelevant unless you can get in like much higher rank. Doesn't really matter. There's some other source of recruit ranks, so you can recruit them on a much higher rank, maybe even with events. But like I said, they tried really hard with campaign skills with Wood Elves. And the final battle's campaign skill is the Lightning Strike, which is totally situational and sometimes just trivializes the whole campaign. The biggest issue with the campaign skill is when you mouse over this, it says available after spending 5 skill points in the previous group. So you pretty much have to take 5 skill points here. The 4 of them are actually pretty decent, but like I said, they lose total value of the early game. And then there are only 3 skills here, not 4 like here, and still have to spend 5 skill points in the previous group. And this is the problem here. It's a strategy game. If they're forcing you to pick everything before, what is there options? Is there variety? Just click everything and click this, right? This shit has to stop. Hopefully they change this with the rework. Same shit like, you know, Azak. Click, 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 and then click. What fucking option and variety when you just have to pick everything to get the next skill? There should be option and variety. You know, there are people out there, you know, gonna think, oh shit, this is a good skill, you know. Yeah, sure. There are Papegas out there, they, you know, they wanna go for Lightning Strike, they're gonna, you know, think they're getting good skills here. I don't wanna fucking pick everything here just to unlock Lightning Strike. This is the reason why I never even go Lightning Strike on the standard Wood Elf campaign. It's just waste skill points. I'd rather just go overkill on the Ancient Treeman. These campaign skills look good, but trust me, this is dog shit. Dog shit. The fact that Lightning Strike is much farther away, it's even worse. The fact they try to move Lightning Strike further away on some factions tells you that they try to do things differently. But when they didn't change it on the other factions, like, what's the fucking point? The Glade Lord, pretty much less value than the Ancient Treeman. You get a lord, you get a Wizard Lord, which can find arcane items. This Lord can find arcane items. Glade Lord cannot find arcane items, it's not a wizard. So, getting a Glade Lord is try-hard flavor, but I still pick them with Orion. So this is the Lord you want to use with the Wood Elves. The other one has questionable value and usually just AFK fire at will, or flying with a Dragon later, which you don't really need. The fact this is a wizard with a lot of life makes the spell singer choice for the army shadows. You get more power, you get more variety in magic, you get stronger magic, you find arcane items for your lords and for your heroes, which makes the Glare Lord utterly pointless try-hard flavor. You have the male ones and the female ones. They're basically just a shitty huntsman general. They can get a dragon later. Ooh, they get a dragon. They must be good. Fucking dog shit compared to the Ancient Treeman. Anyways, let's go to the heroes and the units. So, got a Glade Guard. They're pretty much starting unit. It's a squishy archer unit. Literally no armor or health. But they get a 170 range with impressive ammo and damage for tier 1 unit. So, can't complain about this. This is gonna be your early game unit to shoot everything. Your standard foot archer soldier. This range can be increased easily by over 200. So you get a cheap, effective unit. Not really reliable past a certain point in the campaign. On tier 1 there is also Eternal Guard without the shields, just regular, which have questionable stats. Probably just exist for the multiplayer. When you go with Eternal Guard, you either going as you're desperate, you're playing multiplayer, or there's nothing else to recruit. The difference with them, with the Eternal Guard with shields, they have better charge, and that's it. Look at that. These guys have 10 charge, this guy have 6 charge. You know, that's a big difference. Eternal Guard is pretty much the Dwarf Warriors of the Wood Elves. They just hold ground. But unlike the Dwarf Warriors, they actually deadly. If wrong units get in them, they're just gonna get killed. Speaking about, it's basically something between a Dwarf Warrior and a Halberdier. While it doesn't have toughness of either units, but it has access to healing, which makes them tougher than both units. The fact they have armor piercing anti-large makes them viable throughout the game. They have 100 combatants and 7200 health. So the usual elf stuff, not very high health, but they get resistances, they get healing, they get quite a bit of armor buffs, they have battle skills that supposed to be something else, but they are not. But there is nothing wrong picking piercing thorns and 2 more battle skills, but it should be combined with the swinging bows. It's a unit which you could consider using throughout the campaign and play reactively, and don't give much shit about if you're gonna get attacked by cavalry or large units while they're getting shot. You could get away with just using range, but it's an imbalanced army unless they're all wave watchers, could get hairy. So it's recommended that you use some Eternal Guard early and not just the Glade Guard. But you can get away with just using the Glade Guard. The Glade Guard Hagbin Tips is the other version of the Glade Guard, which basically just requires this building, and it's the basically unit to go in the early game. They have poison and magic arrows, and they have way more damage than the regular Glade Guard. So you have the Glade Guard here with 4 armor piercing damage, while the Glade Guard Hagbin Tips have 7. It makes all the difference in the world, and they have other buffs. So this is basically your go-to early game unit. You could consider getting for the Starfire Shafts, but this one is good enough. This can be ignored, otherwise it's just you need to spend more money and wait longer. Dryads kinda weird for their stats. They have 60 armor, 7,000. They even have less health than Eternal Guard, which I find strange. But they do have 20 physical resist. Overall stats look pretty bad, but when you combine the basic battle skill and some other buffs plus the healing, they make a very good tier 1 unit. No doubt they've been carefully balanced because the esports. Because this is a unit that has Vanguard, Fear, Immune Psychology, and Fear, because they don't work together, and Physical Resist. Magic attacks too. Before the AI was getting just crazy free experience, the Dryads were pretty good to spam in the beginning with Durtu with a battle skill and his unique skill, and they would actually just dominate. Now they need a little bit more healing and a little bit more ranks to actually do anything. Remember, unlike the Elves, the Dryads do not get attack and damage technology. So by picking the Dryads over the Eternal Guard, you don't pick both. You just have to prioritize one. Durtu, which pretty much just goes Piercing Thorns and the Ancient Bark if you want to just go with the flavor. You get immediately the buff for Dryads, and they're pretty good. Add this on the top, and they actually do damage. With a Spell Singer of Life and some magic here as well, they can do pretty good. But ultimately, Dryads only serve one purpose for Durtu, is to die massively so Durtu can get more health via the health buff traits. So they're tier 1 units. On tier 2 they're War Dancers with a total flavor. They have really impressive stats and performance, but they melt like even worse than the Slayers. 6800 health on 100 combatants, that's very poor. But they have physical resistance, they can get even more toughness, more armor, more resistance. But on the base stats with no experience, no battle skills, they're really fragile. But they can do some impressive killing on units of the same tier or lower tier. They work, you can use them in the early game, but as the game progresses, they just don't have enough toughness to keep using. The Sarai Spear ones a little bit more useful because they have anti-large. You go a better line of them, or you can use them on the side, but if you're relying too much on the War Dancers and you're not playing aggressively, they can get really weak against range units and even some cavalry units. Don't get fooled. This being an anti-large unit, it can still get wrecked by cavalry and large units. They have no armor and they have no health, so they will rely on support, usually magic and some serious buffs from other areas. If you want to see melee units in action, the melee elves in action, just check the Last Wood Elf campaign, not the Talson, but the Last Wood Elf one. Deepwood Scouts, this is a finely tuned esports units. At first it looks better than the Glade Guard, but for a tier 2 unit, has dog shit damage. It's pretty much missing the AP buff the Glade Guard received. 15-7. So Hegman Tips outperforms them on range. These guys can fire and shoot. Basically, they're early wave watchers with no damage. So they're more harassment than damage dealer, and screw that. They're a line of archers behind Tunnel Guard, or basically just a massive amount of archers, and use that instead. They're not good enough to use.
Oh my god! Have you seen that shit? Holy shit!
Sometimes you're gonna use them in the garrisons, and you can see, but they're not worth salt in the army. Just use the Glade Guard instead. It's a little bit sad that the multiplier is preventing another unit from being useful at all. Thank you, Porgus. Deepwood Scouts, Swiss Shiver Shards is fucking nonsense. Just that's what I'm gonna say. 135 range with the illusion of doing damage. It's a tier 3 unit that require the armory, the Bovir Swolt. The other units, Glade Riders. Again, what the fuck is up with horse archers and their fine-tuned esports balancing? Not enough damage, so they do have some harassment values, slightly higher AP but less shooters, and they're faster. Overall, the Glade Riders are better than Deepwood Scouts and could be considered more, but they require different building, and even another building if you want to use their poison version, which I feel like this is the only one worth using. It's just a AI cancer unit really in the campaign. We have our first hero here on tier 2, a Spell Singer. Nothing really special regarding a wizard, but just a wizard that has flying. It has the Blessing of the Ancients, so you can be on a unicorn in the trees to get extra power. You get 3 different variations: a lot of life, a lot of shadows, a lot of beasts. We have one full support, one full damage, and one a combination of support and damage. Usually the way to go is 1 life, 1 shadow, or 2 life, and not worth using the beasts with the other 2 options. The fact you unlock it on tier 2 and you can get multiple on tier 2, the Wood Elves get one of the fastest access to strong support magic. Not really much to say about the Spell Singer, just get a good flying wizard. On tier 3 we got Wildwood Rangers. They look like light armor, but they can actually get, if I'm not mistaken, 72 armor. 20 armor from technology, and 12 armor here. Yes, 72 armor, same as the Eternal Guard. It is the highest quality elf infantry. The 8400 health alone compared to 6800 and 7200 makes them the best. Of course, they're tier 3, they should be the best. These guys are tier 3 as well. The physical resistance in some cases will be better than having more health and more armor, but overall having more health and more armor is better. This unit can also get some physical resistance. It's basically the early version of the Sword Masters of Hoyt, but with their attack animations and the options for anti-large in the trees, makes them a little bit more versatile. They used to have, if I'm not mistaken, more health the Sword Masters, but the Sword Masters got buffed, so the Wild Rangers got a little bit worse. Further power creep. Further power creep, no doubt. I would probably put them in the same tier as the Sword Masters before, but now since the Sword Masters got more health, these guys have left in the dust. But this year pretty much go to Elf Infantry unit if you want quality. They can play both reactive and aggressive. Probably better to just go aggro with them because they can do pretty good damage. Here we have the Wild Riders, which is a really effective cavalry unit, but the field battles are rare. They do have pretty much stats as the other elf infantry with physical resistance, but they're really fast and they have 6 to charge bonus. Very effective animations with Frenzy and Vanguard. This is one of the units that just brutally murders everything that is exposed. It's just total slaughter. Some of the most dangerous AI units in the game. You really don't want to get units exposed to the Wild Riders when the AI is having them, because they have stats on steroids. You can get proper armor and proper stats. With Orion, the Glade Lords, when you go flavor with the Elves, you can always use 1 or 2. But in the siege battles, they're dog shit. The shielded version is just shielded version. Just the ones you pretty much go for. 3 at 3, we have 3 kin, one of the toughest units in the game. Downside is they're slow and they don't have much offense, but they can fight for days. At top of that, the ancient treatment buffs, forests and healing, they're nearly unkillable. Like you're using cheats pretty much. The branch rate is the other hero, has a little bit of everything. It's kind of like a wizard and a fighter. Takes some levels to build up. The stats are not that good, but they have access to quite a bit of skills here to buff the stats, and with items get pretty good for melee, and have access to some magic. There's also AoE melee buff. Replenishment makes it recommended in the army but not critical. And they have a Shield of Isha when you're fighting in a forest, plus 15% ward save for a whole army, which is ridiculous. On top of 10% for technology, makes it 25%. So definitely a recommended one per army, but you don't have to use them really in the armies later on. The spell options, they basically have the basic magic. They don't have upgrade magic like regular wizards, but they do get access to the Earth Blood, Shield of Thorns, Penumbrum, Pendulum, and the Smoke of Mirrors, some of the good stuff. And they get evasion for more speed and defense. Usually you will cast magic from the spell singers, but sometimes early on having Smoke and Mirrors and Pendulum, we might just go spell singers with life, right? So if you have only one spell singer with life, you have Dirt in the army, Branch Raid is going to be a very nice addition to his army. They don't have Life Bloom or Regrowth, so they're not as good at healing as spell singers, and they don't have advanced magic from the shadows as well, so they're not good as damage dealers as the shadow spell singers. But they can definitely find a spot in the army. Like I said, recommended, not critical. It's a solid hero overall, especially with the items. One thing is that's really problematic with the Wood Elves, which people don't even realize still in the game overall. The casting item slots, you can only find them with Ancient Riemann and Durtu. Orion and the Glade Lords cannot find arcane items from battles. And not having arcane items by having these characters make these characters overall weaker. While having arcane items, especially the powerful arcane items, could make all the difference in battles. Total, advantage. So unless you're using Durtu and Ancient Riemann, you will not be able to find these items consistently. Only from the, sea treasures, searching ruins. The only reliable way to find arcane items for the spell singers, your Ancient Riemann and the branch rates, is by using the trees. So another reason why the Glade Lords are pretty much ignore multiplayer Lord. If the branch rates have arcane items, spells that have arcane items makes all the difference. More power, some kind of damaging abilities as well, makes all the difference. Another thing, since we're here, regarding the items on the Wood Elves, I feel like they still need to continue, adding and improving a variety of items, which they're doing, so can't really complain about that. But the followers and banners, oh my god, when the fuck are they gonna sort followers and banners regarding all the factions? All factions should have a more variety of followers and banners, campaign, battle, especially more banners for the units, and stats that make sense. Fixes between lords and heroes. How the followers on the Wood Elves activate on heroes, but they don't work on heroes. Lord only, or you don't even know if they work, as it doesn't mention a lord or hero. So this game is missing a huge pass regarding followers and banners on pretty much all factions. There are bugs, some things that don't work, some things that don't drop. There are followers and banners which are too weak and only work on lords, while you can still get them on heroes. What else is there? The Hawk Riders. The Hawk Riders is not a bad unit, but it's not a good unit either. It has a questionable range value. Harassment is definitely an option, but you can just put this precious micro time into using some other units. It has definitely some damage in melee, especially with experience. It's one of the fastest units in the game. There are 24 of them, so they can definitely just shoot a couple of times and then swoop in. Good at killing artillery, but in my opinion, not worth the slot. Just staying in, get slow to the enemy, kill the artillery slowly. The Great Eagle later costs another 5,000 to unlock a really shitty unit, which doesn't even deserve a slot in the army. Well, the Hawk Riders, they're definitely some flavor and some try-hard value out of it, from sure. But these buildings are not worth building and just ignore. Let's say you're dealing with heavy artillery composition and the enemy, you think you're gonna need some flying units. You could have Forest Dragon later, you can have Sister Owl on hiding, you can have Wild Riders, you can have Master Ambush. There's like a million ways with the Wood Elves to deal with the artillery. You don't need shit like this. Questionable multiplayer units, really. That's it for the tier 3. On tier 4 we have the best unit of the Wood Elves, which are the Wave Watchers, also the strongest archer unit in the game by far, since they can shoot and move at the same time. The Sister of Avalon have more shooters, so overall more damage, but they cannot move and shoot at the same time, which makes the Wave Watchers numero uno archer unit in the game. They have such a high devastating damage that fully buffed Wave Watchers in a couple of shots delete any unit in the game. And it's usually your go-to Doomstack unit for the Wood Elves, especially the Orion Wood Elves. Incredible damage, which can get tripled pretty much. The range can pretty much reach artillery values, and the amount of damage is just. If you've seen some of the Orion gameplay from the couple of days, you can see a Wave Watcher shooting a volley into the Longbeards from the front, and you can see a chunk of health gone. And the Longbeards have armor and shields. It's like, range meta broke back. When are we gonna get some proper shields in this game? Fucking hell. I love the Wave Watchers. I love shooters. Wood Elves, in this area are some of the best. But, you can have fun with them, but after a time it does get old. Voice Stalker is pretty much a campaign hero for the assault units and assassin assault garrison, but it can be also put in the armies with questionable range value. It could be used for sniping together with the Voice Stalkers. It does have really good abilities. It's pretty much Orion hero version. It's powerful, but you don't need it in the army. You're not gonna feel its power unless you really go with it. There are other units to micro, but most of the stuff can be just left fire at will and it'll still outperform other stuff. So if you really need it, you're gonna get very good results. If you don't need it, you're not even gonna know he's there. Every battle could be with the 1 or 2 Wave Stalkers just sniping as the enemy gets closer, shooting with the Wave Watchers into your battle line, or just pretty much your whole army could be just Master Ambushers with Heroes Lord and the Wild Riders. Pretend the sieges don't exist. So overall, it's a pretty good hero, but I recommend you just use them on the campaign map. Overkill, really. The Great Eagle, please delete this unit from the game. It just makes it an ability on the campaign. That's all I will say. It just don't deserve a slot in the army. We have tier 5 units now. The Sisters of the Thorn, which doesn't really look anything special, but it's more than it is. It's a fast harassment unit with some damage and tanking options. It also has Shield of Thorns and the Curse of Underhair, whatever you want to call it. They don't cost wins of magic power reserve. They have poison. They're really durable. They can get even more durable than that. In an army with the Wild Riders, probably one or two wild riders and one or two sisters, and they should pretty much work together. Unlike the wild riders, the sister return have value in a siege, so they're overall better. You can use 2 free shield of thorns. The 3-man is another tier 5 unit which has overkill toughness, which is easily to keep alive. They just lack damage. With the right experience and skills and everything, it gets decent offense, but the main strength lies in defense. Usually, how I imagine the use of the forest spirits, like the dryads, Tree King, and the Tree Men. You know, dryads basically support the Tree King and the Tree Men to add more damage to these units, but the wild rangers can do the same shit, just better. It's pretty much a flavor unit. With the Durtu faction, a couple of them per army. You can go with like 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's, like I said, flavor unit. The Forest Dragon is better in every way, except defense, which is kind of overkill on the Treeman. Having overkill defense units can be fun for the grinding armies, but the Forest Dragon should be considered more so than the Treeman. Forest Dragon is more micro-intensive, but you can get much better damage performance out of it. Unlike from the Treeman, which you basically just send him in and leave him there. Don't have to worry about him. The Forest Dragon looks a little bit squishy at the first. 6,000 health, 50 armor. Had dog shit toughness in the Warhammer 1 as well. But when you look at it, it has 20 physical resistance. It has 25 missile resistance, and it's flying. Would also have easy access to healing. It's much more than it seems. It's basically a better Moon Dragon, and that's it. It's nice that the Wood Elves have access to the Forest Dragon. It's one of those units which actually later in the game definitely adds some power level to the army, or you can just use you know, range. There's definitely option for flavor variety armies with Wood Elves, or you can just go with overpowered range units, which doesn't even require much strategy or tactics in most battles. Most battles will be out-resolved as well. In a Durtu army where you use Tree King, some Tree Men, the Forest Dragon will definitely see more play and more value, where the Forest Dragon is becoming one of your main damage dealers together with Durtu and your Wizard. They have poison, yeah, they have poison as well. Like I said, the better Moon Dragon. And Moon Dragon is a very good unit. Moon Dragon is basically a standard tier for dragons in this game. Moon Dragon, Black Dragon, even Forest Dragon goes in that tier if the enemy doesn't have magic attacks. Then you have Terror Guys on the same tier even if it's not a dragon. The poison does poison the whole unit, not just duels, yeah. It's definitely easier to keep alive than a Moon Dragon in melee. Usually gonna be amazing for the sieges, especially because you're not gonna have siege attackers with Orion, so this is your go-to siege attacker. Definitely 1 per army must, because makes the sieges much easier. Probably would put like 2 per army. That's it for the units, boys. That's it for the units. I mean, the unit variety is good enough, but some units are just better than the rest, and some units just exist, you know, because of, you know, sake of variety in multiplayer. The next DLC is Wood Elves, and they're gonna be adding more units, more Regiments Renown, which will overall definitely add finally some proper Warhammer 2 Wood Elf stuff. It's a strong faction with some definitely questionable design right now in Warhammer 2. Makes them unique enough, makes them different, but this is not always a good thing. I still really feel like they're still in Warhammer 1. Main reasons: the Ever mechanic, which might not even be the worst thing. The outposts, which basically supports their, you know, isolationist Ataloran faction. Basically, this is their base of operations. They go outside the forest and get outposts, which is better than any horde faction has. Honestly, the outpost system should pretty much be a thing for beastmen and the chaos, while the wood elves should have a little bit more depth to it. Proper outposts, not just some expendable settlements you don't care about. At times could be tedious or easy to defend depending on your military, so the option to ally makes more sense. So basically you get an outpost, it's a tier 1. Paramount here in an example, you get a core building, tier 1, limited garrison. There is an option of buildings to build, they are all tier 1. And you have a resource building, some questionable tier 1 buildings that look cool, look fun, but in reality they are too weak. And then you have a landmark. So in Paramount you get a tier 1 building, and you can either build a landmark, a resource building, or one of the other questionable buildings. Usually you're gonna go for the 25% replenishment building and garrison, which will stop only some small medium armies. It's not good enough to defend itself. In coastal settlements it's even worse. You get port, and that's it. You can't even build a resource building or anything else. You just get a fucking port. There are some other settlement buildings that are either bugged or intended to have a higher tier, but this whole system needs to be scrapped and redesigned for sure. Proper outpost, infrastructure, and mechanic. Which brings us further to this shit here. There have been people here over the years that tell me that it's a good technology. I just don't understand these people. It's absolute garbage technology, not even worth 1 ember. Wood elf economy through infrastructure outside the forest, give me a fucking break. You get money from battles and that's it. So you have another trash technology here. Relations with Southern Elves and Norska 40, and income proports 100%. Just an illusion that it's good. There's another technology here which is ridiculous, honestly, immune to attrition all armies. This means I for a while was thinking, if it would prevent the attrition, same like the Dutro army, that you will not take it any from the loss of settlements and not money. But as you can see, you can create 1,000,000 armies and they will not be taking attrition from the lack of treasury. So you can abuse this to just get the strongest military in the game. This one here improves relations with the dwarves, makes cheaper construction, and gives you more money from buildings. So it does give you some more core income. So at the point we get this technology, the construction costs don't really matter anymore. It adds up a little bit in the long campaign. +4 relation with dwarves is good for military alliances. Questionable 2 ember again. All this ember technology is really questionable. Gadai here, +30 diplomatic relations with all factions, so you get +30 here and +40 there. Easy game, easy life, just ally and win the campaign. Global recruitment duration -1 for all units. Another 2 ember, another questionable technology. Winds of magic power reserve +20 all armies for 2 ember. +20 army winds of magic power reserve for all armies is just ridiculous. So at that point you're probably already winning the campaign, so this is just total overkill. Global recruitment capacity +4, 1 ember. This is a nice AI technology. Net to Keeper of the Last Door, diplomatic relation +30 with emperor counts, income from settlement +30%, income from possibility +30%, total overkill on the money. Worth considering depending on the length of campaign. The Wood Elves get crazy income from battles, post-battle loot, ransom, and raising settlements. They might as well be the Green Chaos. Hakon the Sunderer, absolute trash dogshit technology. And you have Anna Train with the Savage Huntress, the poor Beastmen. The Beastmen are all the dogshit AI faction, some of the worst in the game. And you get a technology here which, oh my god, is like, this is... You know, guys, in those old games when you have some kind of cheat codes and you just, you cheat, you don't take no damage, you have all the money, all everything. This is like pretty much it. You pick this, it's absolute bullying. Like, they're not even little kids anymore. They're just little toddlers that can't defend themselves anymore. This is totally broken and busted. I don't even know why this exists. It's almost like they're giving you illusion the Beastmen are threat. There's another broken thing with this faction. When you play Wood Elves over time, the Beastmen keep respawning. and have suicidal tendencies to attack you in the forest. Gives you an illusion that something is happening, you know, the campaign is going. It is a fucking sad attempt from the devs to add more depth to this campaign. The beastmen keep respawning here and they just keep beelining for the forest. As you upgrade the tree to the higher tier, they keep respawning here, some kind of invasion, attack the forest. You send one of your armies, click, 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 out to the you know, they're all dead. You don't even have to fight them. You get your top army, Oak of Ages, Final Battle, Defense. You can pretty much go AFK, they're all gonna be die when you get back. How pathetic the Beastman AI is. Some of the worst dog shit in the game, currently one of the worst factions in the game. They've reached pretty much the dog shit status of the old greenskins. AI Beastmen, the biggest joke in this game. And the fact they are supposed to be some kind of threat to the Wood Elves, it's absolutely fucking pathetic attempt to actually create illusion of difficulty in gameplay for the Wood Elves. And this is why this campaign is one of the reasons why it's really needs to change and not this same dog shit every time. Okay, this was maybe suddenly a bit harsh, but that's how it is. The Wood Elves are unique enough to find enjoyment with. They do have their different playstyle, but it does get old pretty fast and you just want to rush and finish the campaign. I think we covered nearly everything. You guys think we missed something? This Offices is just, you know, a really sad attempt to adding more layers and mechanics to the campaign. They used to, everyone complained that the Beastmen were killing everything. Come on, man. You know who you're talking to it here? I played fucking every set of the game here. Beastmen, the only time the Beastmen were ever actually any threat is when the Khazar would spam Bestigors before turn 20 full Bestigor army, and then you would have a challenging Beastmen encounter, one or two, and that's it. They're dead again. They don't even have any backup plan or survival mechanics like the rogue armies. Woohoo! I played multiple campaigns where all the Naganon was doing because the Beastmen. Okay, I don't believe that, but sure. I don't even want to ask if he used what mods he used. You guys heard that? I played over 150 campaigns here. Has there been a single campaign where all the been doing because the Beastmen? There's this thing called, you know, Skaven there, friend, and you know, it might be ruins, but when you get there, it's fucking rats. In your hair, in your pants, everywhere. That's it, boys. Might have missed something here, but I have a headache and I'm going off. See ya.